Free health care. Everybody gets a Rolls Royce. Come on in. Come on in. You know, to show you how corrupt CNN is, when I use that expression, they say, the president wasn't telling the truth. He said they get a Rolls Royce, and they don't.
That's 5445 South.
They don't get it. They never got it.
All saying the same thing. Weber side of the Weber Square apartment.
And their ratings are so low now that they are no longer the big difference at all. They have really bad ratings. But you know what is bad for our country? When CNN, so often I go to a foreign country. I go to a country, I meet leaders, and he said, why do they hate your country so much? I said, who? Well, CNN outside of the United States is much more important than it is in the United States. And a lot of what you see here is broadcast throughout the world. And we used to have Radio Free Europe, like I think Radio Free Europe and Voice of America. And we did that to build up our country. And that's not working out too well. But CNN is a voice that really seems to be the voice out there. And it's a terrible thing for our country. And we ought to start our own network and put some real news out there because they are so bad. They are so bad for our country. They are so bad for our country. I go out there and they say, boy, the media hates your country. And it's just a shame. It's just a shame. And we really are. We are looking at that. We should do something about it, too. Put some really talented people and get a real voice out there, not a voice that's fake. When Americans are struck by natural disaster, like they were in Florida, where I was with you, Hurricane Michael, did I do a good job, Governor? Did I do a good job? Man. Your governor came to my office once a week. He always needed more money. And I always gave it, right?
For 182.
He didn't stop. I hated it. I said, keep DeSantis. I don't want to see it.
But
we always gave it, and we got it, and the people work so hard. And
what's our repeat on that?
The military, they all work for you. The Coast Guard is incredible. What the Coast Guard.
What was your last number?
320, Delta 480, Delta 420.
The second part of our health care agenda is to promote the affordability of America's needs. Thanks to our focus on lower drug prices, the FDA approved more low-cost generic drugs in our first 2 years than ever before in the history of our country. Think of that. Think of that. And every time I'd see the folks over at FDA, I'd say, come on, folks, let's go. Fix. Don't forget, when somebody was dying, and we had a drug that looked like it was really good, but it wasn't going to be approved for like 4 more years. It used to be 12 years, we brought it way down. It's too low. We brought it way down. But a person was dying, and they said, no, sir, we can't give that because it may harm the person. I said, no, you don't understand. A person is terminally ill. They've got 4 weeks to live. And you don't want to give them a drug because you think it's going to harm them. I guarantee you I can get them to sign a document. And we got that in right to try. And by the way, miracles are happening, right? Miracles. Hopefully it never happens to anybody in this room, but frankly, people would go to Asia, they go to Europe, they go all over the world seeking a cure. If they had money. If they didn't have money, they'd go home. And they'd die. Now they don't have to do that. And it wasn't easy because the drug companies didn't want it, because they didn't want to have terminally ill, because it looks bad on the percentage. Because they didn't want to be sued by a person that would have died anyway.
And Delta 440, Delta 430, turn up for suspicious person, 2403 Mary, 2403 Mary.
And the agreement holds everybody non-liable. We took the drug companies and we created a separate list. So they're not on that list because it is right.
10-4. I'm going to show you now, Delta 430.
We took a separate list. So now we have a totally separate list, confidential list, but they don't get hurt by somebody that was so sick that this person may not make it. And we got everybody to sign it, and we were done. It was pretty amazing.
5-7, and we arrived on 4524.
Congressman back there, including Ron, who at the time was in Congress. Right?
Third party.
with Greg and everybody. We got it done, and we got the Senate to approve it, and I signed it, and I was really happy. Right to try. Hopefully you never need it. We also ended the terrible gag clauses that prevented pharmacists from telling you about cheaper options at the pharmacy counter. Do you believe it? I thought they were kidding me the first time. Don't forget, I've only been doing this for 3 years. These guys have been doing it long. But they're not allowed to talk to you about pricing. I said, wait, we got the kid. Now they can talk about pricing. You can go out and pricing. And all these things, you know, they sound so simple. They're tough to do. They've been that way for many years for a reason. You have very powerful lobbyists. You have drug companies, frankly, that don't want that. Why would they want that? So you can negotiate price. Why would they want to control? My administration is also working to require drug companies to disclose prices in their television advertisements, and we're almost getting to a point where we're going to be able to get that. So you're going to know what you're paying up front. They can't triple hit you.
And Rainbow House advised they have
Essentially, we're holding Big Pharma accountable, and that's okay. They do just fine. Earlier this year, we announced another groundbreaking action seniors have wanted for decades. We will soon allow the safe and legal importation of prescription drugs from other countries, including the country of Canada, where, believe it or not, they pay much less money for the exact same drug.
You got cut off at the last year traffic. Can you repeat?
Stand up, Ron. Boy, he wants this so badly. I mean, you go to some countries and the price is like 50, 60% lower, even more than that, I guess, Ron, in some cases. And it's 50, 60% lower. The exact same pill from the exact same factory, from the exact same company. And I say, why is it that in Europe, certain places in particular, it's 25% of what we pay? I said, must be a different manufacturing. Must be maybe a different factory. No, sure, it's the same way. Everything's identical. They pay 25%. We pick up all of the research and development. We pick up everything like a bunch of...
Advised her window was shot out, passing by location.
Schmucks. Not anymore, folks, because in a little while... In a little while, your governor is going to be able to go out and negotiate to his heart's content. And he's going to go to Canada. I know he's going there already, and he's looking at their pricing, and he's going to some of the European countries and others, and he's going to get...
10-4, GRC 24 Red, 305, and Delta 48, I'm sure you're
It's going to be a great thing, and we'll see what happens. It's going to be very interesting. And I have a feeling when that happens, the drug companies are just going to say, we can't have this, and they're going to drop their price, I think. Now, they're very smart. They may go the other way, and if they do, don't blame me.
You can clear that hit and run. I don't start
But I'm pretty sure you're going to do fantastically, Ron. You feel good about it? Huh? You better be good, otherwise you're making us both look bad. You hear that, Casey? American patients must no longer be forced to subsidize lower drug prices in other countries through higher prices in America. That's what we're doing. We're paying a much higher price. My administration will never stop fighting for lower costs for American patients and American seniors. The third part of our healthcare vision is to provide the choice and control Americans want. We eliminated Obamacare's horrible, horrible, very expensive and very unfair, unpopular, individual mandate, a total disaster. That was a big penalty. That was a big where you paid a lot of money for the privilege of not having to pay a lot of money for the privilege of having no health care. You paid not to have health care. It was a penalty.
Okay, on this trip, at the beginning of this call, note in the call that CPI is in contact. Did we contact them, or did
We vastly expanded insurance options, including association health plans, short-term plans, and health reimbursement arrangements, which are incredible. And many of these options are up to 60% less expensive than Obamacare. Nobody got that. Nobody got that. That's it. Obamacare. I didn't say Obamacare. I said Obamacare. President Obamacare, he can help. But we've done a great job in running it. We almost had it done. We unfortunately had one vote. Middle of the night, just went thumbs down. That wasn't good. After years and years of campaigning, repeal and replace, right? But we've done a great job because we got rid of the individual mandate and we're running it better. It's still no good because it's too expensive. The premium is way too high. All of the elements of it, it's just not good. But we're coming up with an incredible plan. The Republicans take back the House, keep the Senate, keep the presidency. We're going to have a fantastic day.
Back, but I'm not showing one yet.
Following my administration's recommendation, Florida has taken an important step.
11, active hold at 416 Eldon, 416 Eldon. Give me a transformer on fire, like a poles on the ground. Information still coming in.
Other states to follow Florida's example. They've done a great job right here. And I also signed, just recently, a revolutionary executive order requiring price and quality transparency. And the man who's really the leader in the world of this is transparency. Your doctor, you can look at their records, you can see how well they did, you can go and negotiate. A man, what really sold me on it, the man who's the best in the world at it, who we used, and we gave you the max plan. Did we give that? The max plan, right? That's the maximum plan, we gave it to you. And he said something that I loved. He said, sir, this is more important and will go down as more important than any health care that you'll ever come up with. And I said, I like the sound of that. Now, who knows if it's true? But I guess from what I'm hearing, they've done it in certain limited areas. And it's phenomenal. And it's really transparency, and you'll be able to negotiate all over the place. And you'll be able to pick everything you want, from the hospital to the doctor. And it's going to save you a tremendous amount of money. And there are those that say it's more important than even health care at a high level. And fourth, my administration is fighting to ensure the high-quality care that Americans deserve. Americans have to get the highest quality. So we have the highest quality that Americans deserve. On behalf of 5 million Americans living with Alzheimer's disease, I signed into law a $1 billion increase in funding for critical Alzheimer's research, and we've made a lot of progress. And just one other thing I will tell you, because it even surprised me, but we've funded it now, and within 10 years, our country will be AIDS-free. Can you believe that? AIDS-free. Tremendous progress has been made. And when we were talking about that, I said, I don't understand how to do this. It's like somewhat of a secret, but it's incredible, the tremendous progress that we've made over the last few years on AIDS and AIDS research, and we should be essentially AIDS-free. Do you agree with that, Mr. Secretary? In my State of the Union, I announced a plan to invest $500 million in new treatments and cures and all of the things that we have to go through with incredible children in some cases. For childhood cancers, it's a tremendous problem. And to bring new hope to the nearly 100,000 Americans currently awaiting a kidney operation, I signed an executive order that will significantly increase the supply of kidneys available for transplant. It's such a big deal. It's so big you have no idea. We worked hard on that, and you know what a lot of people don't know? A lot of it is just the work. People die fairly quickly because it's not, they could go on forever. It's unbelievable amounts of work going in all the time for step by step what you have to do. And so with kidney transplants, we're making tremendous progress, and we funded a lot of money toward it, and I think it's going to be a tremendous thing for people that are just literally suffering with something they can really do very well with. We're delivering better, fairer, and more affordable health care for all Americans, especially our cherished senior citizens. And we will stop at nothing to deliver better health care for you and for your family. I will never let you down. You have been incredible to me, and I will never, ever forget you. I will never let you down, I promise that. Thank you very much. We're lowering the cost of prescription drugs, taking on the pharmaceutical companies, and you think that's easy? It's not easy. It's not easy. They come at you from all different sides. I wouldn't be surprised if the hoax didn't come a little bit from some of the people that were taking on the spend a lot of money. Spend, I think, more money than any other group in the world, actually, in terms of lobbying and lobbying abilities. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of the nonsense that we all have to go through, but that I go through, wouldn't be surprised if it was from some of these industries, like pharmaceuticals, that we take on, because I don't care. I did great. I've had a great life. I want to get drug prices down. I don't care about the companies. I want to get drug prices down. I want to continue to give them the incentive to come out with new and better answers. We've got to get drug prices down. And they've made a fortune over the last 40 years. They've made so much money. And they've got the system wired. Because everything you do, the stock goes up. I said, what the hell is going on? The stock just went up. They said, sure, it's going to be wonderful. I said, it's not going to be wonderful. Let their stock go down a little bit. But their stock goes up. And what we've done is incredible. And by the way, you have some incredible companies. The answers that we want to keep them strong and powerful and wealthy, and we want them to really continue to do that research. But we've got to get those prices down. They're far too high, especially when you compare them to other countries. And we want to ensure access to the doctors of your choice, and every day we are going to, as I said, we are going to defend Medicare like Medicare has never been defended again, and it's never needed a defense. It's always been incredible. It's something that worked, and they want to destroy it. In my administration, we know that Medicare is personal. Great health care is about more time with the ones you love, more days with your grandkids, and more freedom to enjoy the most rewarding years of your life, or what should be, by far, the most rewarding years of your life. You've worked hard. You've worked so hard, and you paid for it, and you've got to enjoy it. It's about getting better when you're sick. It's improving your well-being, and it's getting the treatment you need right when you need it. That's why in everything we do, we are defending the principles that made America the envy of the world and the American way of life, the greatest in our history. And our country has never been greater than it's been right now. Our military is the strongest it's ever built. We rebuilt our entire military. And even medical research is at a new level. It's at a level that we've never had it before. We stand for freedom. We stand for choice. We stand for justice and fairness and accountability. We stand for loyalty to our citizens, love for our country, allegiance to our flag, and long and healthy lives for our great seniors. And with your help, we are going to continue building the best, most advanced, most cutting-edge healthcare system anywhere in the world. We are going to expand our growing economy to make retirement easier and better and far more secure. We're going to defend American lives, American values, American families, and America's glorious destiny. There is no country like our country. We see and read things, but there is no country like our country. Right? With every ounce of strength and every bit of soul, we are going to protect Medicare for you, for everyone at the villages, and for every senior across this magnificent land. You are going to be protected in many ways, but you are going to be protected. Thank you for being here. Thank you for this incredible enthusiasm. God bless you. God bless our senior citizens, and God bless America. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
I'm going to go traffic on a vehicle with no lights on in case the neighborhood real quick.
Should I do it?
0033.
I'll do it.
Should be 47.
Code on Florida.
We're clear.
Thank you, everybody. Here, grab these fellas. Pass them around.
Contact in case they made a call.
Yeah, well, we need them on a rush, please.
I love that. I love those guys. Bikers for 45, these guys. They've been there from the beginning, right? Pass these around.
To be out with Adam 410.
Come here, Attorney General, get over here. Come on. Get over here. Lieutenant Governor, come on. Please, both of you, come on up here. They're doing a good job, right? Should we give them a pen? I think so. Come on up here. That's great. I want to thank you all. Really a special time, and this is very meaningful for me and for you and for everybody. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
He will be en route. I don't know if at this time, safe staging. He will pick up EMS 23.
Look at all the press that we've got.
Medics advise a grave passenger car pulling up scenes to know the suspects. Advise males are on the ground.
Thank you very much. Today it's my honor to welcome President Nitsta of Finland to the White House. And Mr. President, it's wonderful to host you once again in Washington. We've gotten to know each other over the last period of time, and it's been a great experience. The President and I have just concluded very productive discussions on a number of exciting opportunities for our two nations. Before going further, I want to express our deep condolences over the horrific stabbing attack that took place yesterday at a college in Finland. America is praying for the victims and their families, and we send our unwavering love and support. The American and Finnish people are linked by an abiding commitment to self-government, individual rights, democracy, and the rule of law. This past May, our country celebrated the 100th anniversary of America's recognition of the independent nation of Finland in 1919. As President Wilson wrote at the time, our recognition was prompted by the sympathies for a cause similar to that which caused our own Declaration of Independence in 1776. A century after we established diplomatic relations, the United States and Finland remain united by those same cherished values. Central to this effort is our nation's close cooperation on matters of security and defense. Although Finland is not a member of NATO, save a lot of money. Finland participates in many NATO missions and exercises, and I'm pleased that Finland is substantially increasing its military budget. America and Finland are also working together to advance stability, freedom of navigation, and respect for national sovereignty in the Arctic. Both of our nations are committed to a secure Arctic region free from external intrusion, interference, and coercion. Simply put, we believe that the affairs of the Arctic should be governed by the actual nations of the Arctic. And as you know, there are other people coming into the Arctic, and we don't like it. Can't let it happen. And we won't let it happen. The United States and Finland are likewise partnering to ensure the security of 5G networks. It is critical that we use safe and trustworthy technology providers, components, and supply chains. We welcome the establishment of the OROS Innovation Center in Finland. Qualcomm has done a fantastic job with that. This innovation center will greatly expand American and Finnish businesses and cooperation in 5G. We're also glad that the Finnish company Nokia, it's a great company, global leader in 5G technology, is developing its cutting-edge products right here in the United States at Bell Labs in New Jersey. Across the United States, foreign direct investment from Finland totals over $10 billion. Each year, Finnish-owned companies invest more than $120 million in research and development in America and expand our exports by more than $1 billion. Just today, Finnish Nokian Tires opened a new manufacturing plant in Dayton, Tennessee, a $360 million investment that is creating hundreds of brand new, beautiful jobs for a great state, Tennessee. So I made a wise choice. You never lose when you go to Tennessee. I encourage other Finnish companies to increase their investments in the United States. There has simply never been a better time to do business in America. We have passed the largest tax cuts and reform and also regulation cuts in the history of our country. We slashed business tax. We are fueling job growth through our record-setting campaign to abolish all of those really terrible, unnecessary regulations. We have plenty of regulations, but many of them we didn't need. We got rid of them. The American economy is booming, wages are rising, incomes are soaring, and unemployment has hit its lowest level in more than half a century. We want Finnish companies to join America's extraordinary economic revival. So many countries are coming in. It's the hot place. We have the hottest economy in the world, and it's the hot place to be. They all want to be here. The President and I are also working on a way to improve international trade based on the principle of fairness and, my favorite word, reciprocity. I hope that Finland, which now holds the rotating presidency of the EU Council, will support our efforts to achieve a mutually beneficial agreement with the European Union. We have to start doing something with the European Union because they have not been treating this country right for many, many years. And they know it, and I know it. America's trade deficit with the EU has been averaging $160 billion a year for many, many years. Achieving more balanced and robust trade flows would greatly benefit both Finland and the United States. We also appreciate Finland's strong partnership in combating predatory trade practices worldwide, including the theft of intellectual property. From trade to security, from travel to commerce, we are immensely grateful for our close and deeply valued friendship with the people of Finland, great people. And we're now working on a deal to sell a large number of airplanes, fighter jets, hopefully to Finland. See how that works out. We make the greatest jets in the world. We make the greatest missiles and military equipment anywhere in the world. Nobody's even close. Mr. President, I want to thank you again for visiting the White House. The history of our two nations is a profound testament to the importance of our independence and resolve to defend it. I look forward to continuing to work alongside of you as we safeguard our precious sovereignty and build a bright future of hope, harmony, and peace for the American and Finnish people. And thank you very much for being with us at the White House and the Oval Office. We had a very special number of hours. Appreciate it very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I will deliver your condolences to Finnish people. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, before meeting, I had some spare time, so I visited a couple of museums here. Museum of American History, African History, and Museum of American Indian History. And in addition to that, I had a possibility of attending a ceremony in Arlington. Mr. President, you have here a great democracy. Keep it going. We had a very good discussion with the President. Like you mentioned, our diplomatic relations are 100 years old. During that time, we have developed our cooperation a lot, not only official meetings like this, but American and Finnish people, scientists, for example, meet each other, cooperating, working together. We have quite a lot of cooperation in security sector, also in defense, because I think that we share the feeling that the most important thing for the nation is to guarantee security to its citizens. And that is the starting point for Finland also to this cooperation. I wanted to take up with the President the importance of transatlantic cooperation. Well, we all know Europe needs USA. But I say that USA needs also Europe. We know the price of everything. We should recognize also the value of everything. We share the same values of democracy, human rights, human-based order, and in that we are very similar.
heard 4 to 8 shots in the area. Also heard a vehicle speeding. Sounded like the vehicle was going down McCardle towards Staples. No description.
During the couple of last years to understand also more about security point of view. And I just want to tell you that, in my opinion, the stronger Europe we have, the stronger partner you have. The Arctic area, you know, Finland is in very north, is becoming more and more interesting, as the President said. We both, alongside with 6 countries, form the Arctic Council. And we are working heavily. There are surely possibilities, like we have heard, the maritime routes are being opened. Maybe there are also resources, but there are huge risks. One of them is that we should keep the low tension we are used to have there. And that is what we have been discussing. And I do appreciate President's position to emphasize that it is not a place for military. But even greater challenge is the environment. And I'm very glad that we started to talk 2 years ago in this very house about black coal. It is not maybe the worst which causes climate problems, but it is, everybody can understand that if black comes down to ice and snow, when the sun meets it, it melts down. And melting sea ice in Arctic is very crucial. I used to say that if
Charles Tom X-ray 9441, Charles Tom X-ray 9441, comes back to 2001 Chevy Silverado, silver in color, recovered from 2034 airline at the Stripe. Today's date, Control 303.
Some of us remember the worst years of Cold War in the 1960s. There was no agreement at all, just Cold War. We can't let the situation return, no agreement at all about arms control. And that is why it is important to try to negotiate new agreements and to continue the New START agreement. That would be a good new start for international
Apartment number 2, 1432.
Turn up with Mr. President referred to 5G. Issues I see as a whole. We are very proud to have the excellence of Center of Excellence of Hybrid in Helsinki. USA has been very helpful in that. And very many countries are working together to fight against
you're coming through with a lot of static. You advise to hold the call for now?
Warfare. What comes to providers in that area. I am not very willing to point out any country or company. We are now maybe a bit late from USA in EU making a risk assessment. It will be prepared in 1-2 weeks' time, and after that we are in a place that we have to choose the tools to protect us. Mr. President, I want to thank you very much for having a possibility of meeting you here. It is very valuable, and I found our discussions very open, very interesting, and giving a lot to my little country. Thank you, sir.
Before we take questions, something happened that's been going on for many decades, and we came to a conclusion. Could I ask Ambassador Pence to just come up for 1 second and explain the importance of what just took place, because this has been going on for many, many years. And this is Ambassador Pence, no relationship to our great Vice President. Hard to believe. Nobody believes that, but that's true.
Charlie 320, copy, plane.
But I have been introduced as his father, his brother, his cousin, his uncle. Friends. Good afternoon. When I arrived in Helsinki about a year and a half ago, there was a stack of papers in the desk of a couple of rich, concerned indigenous peoples from the southwestern United States, Arizona, Colorado, including probably most predominantly, but generically I refer to them as Hopi Indians. They were one of the group. In 1895, a lot of their remains had been excavated and removed, like 500 artifacts, to Finland. And there they've remained despite a lot of activity to get them back in. I just jumped to the end and say through the good offices of our State Department, but in particular, President Niinistö and his entire team we've secured a mutual agreement whereby all of those remains, including a number of petrified bodies, will be going back to be put back. So special to us, and I think it's probably special to indigenous peoples everywhere around the globe, that we're all concerned about paying appropriate respect to those who have departed before us. So thank you both of the presidents for supporting us.
Thank you. That's a good job, Mr. Andrew. That's been going on for many, many years. So I just thank you.
William Robert Ida George Henry Tom.
John
First name
Roberts.
Travis, 12397.
Mr. President, thank you. President Niinistö. If I could, sir, I've got two pertinent questions. Maybe ask them separately to get a fresh answer of each one. The three House committees that are looking into the impeachment inquiry gave notice today that they will be sending a subpoena to the White House to documents. Will you cooperate with those subpoenas?
Well, I always cooperate. This is a hoax. This is the greatest hoax. This is just a continuation of what's been playing out, John, for the last, since my election, I would say, if you want, and probably, we'll find out soon, but probably even before my election. This is a fraudulent crime on the American people, but we'll work together with Shifty Shift and Pelosi and all of them, and we'll see what happens, because we did absolutely. I had a great call with the president of Ukraine. It was 100%. You have the transcript. And then Schiff went up and got, as the chairman of the committee, got up and related a call that didn't take place. He made up the language. Hard to believe. Nobody's ever seen this. I think he had some kind of a mental breakdown. But he went up to the microphone and he read a statement from the President of the United States as if I were on the call. Because what happened is when he looked at the sheet, which was an exact transcript of my call, done by very talented people that do this, exact, word for word, he said, wow, he didn't do anything wrong. So he made it up. He went up to a microphone in front of the American people and in Congress. He went out and he gave a whole presentation of words that the President of the United States never said. it has to be a criminal act.
Bravo
It has to be.
435, Kilo,
And it
that's
should
all
be
short
zoned.
on the vehicle.
And some people even say it was treason. But
Could
it was a
be
very
2927 Oso
Just
Parkway.
so you know, the call was perfect, the real call, the call I made. Many people were on the line, I knew that, because usually when I speak to foreign country leaders, I can't name any one of them, but when I speak on the phone, I know that we have many people listening from various intelligence agencies. My knowledge, I know all about it. And so this isn't something like, oh gee, I'm on the line, let's talk about a big secret. This is many people on the line. I don't even know how many, we'll find out, I guess. But many people, Mike Pompeo was on the line, didn't say anything, he just, because they listen for both knowledge and for security reasons and for lots of reasons. But the president of Ukraine at the United Nations the other day, and previous to that, he announced through his spokesperson, said there was absolutely no pressure put on him. There was no quid pro quo at all. If you look at this whistleblowers, which I have a lot of respect for whistleblowers, but only when they're real. His report of the phone call was totally different than the fact. But what got them was they never thought I was going to release the call, because I don't like doing that. I don't want to do it. I hope I don't have to do it again. Release phone calls to foreign dignitaries, to foreign leaders. I don't want to do that, Jim. I don't want to do it again. But I did it with the permission of the Ukrainian government. We got permission. We called up their representatives and asked them, would it be okay? Otherwise, I couldn't have done it. And if I wouldn't have done it, I would have been exposed to a lie. Because the whistleblower report, didn't he say 7 or 8 times I said quid pro quo? In other words, you're going to do this or you're not going to get money. Now, in all fairness, Biden said it, and he's on tape. In all fairness, you have at least 4 United States senators, Democrats, that said it, and they said it a lot stronger than even Schiff and his made-up story said it. Obama, when he was dealing with the president of Russia,
vehicle does have
not Putin,
paper tags.
he said, hey, tell Vladimir I can do a lot more after the election. You remember that? He didn't make a big deal out of that. Everybody thought, oh, isn't that cute? Isn't that cute? My talk and my response, Lindsey Graham said, I never knew you were that nice. I can't believe you were that nice. He said that loud and clear. It was perfect. It was perfect. Not a thing wrong with it. To impeach a president over a fraud that was committed by other people that want to win an election in 2020, which they won't, is incredible. This is the greatest hoax. Now, it's gone on for a long time. We had the Mueller collusion delusion, okay? That went on for years. And that's finally done. No collusion, no obstruction, no nothing. It was a joke, and everyone knows it. And it was from the day one. Now, I get 3 days of peace, and I'm walking into the United Nations, going to meet with the biggest leaders in the world, and I hear about the word impeachment. I said, what did I do now? And it was about a beautiful conversation that I had. And just remember this, the Ukrainian new president, a fine man, said, I don't know what you're talking about. There was no pressure. And he said it a number of times. Okay, what's your second question? But you shouldn't be asking 2 questions.
Well, you're going to want to answer.
Do me a favor. Ask one of the
I will, but
finished presidents.
I think you'll want to answer this question.
John, ask
sir.
one of the finished presidents.
And then can I come back to you? Because I think you'll want to answer.
We'll talk later. Well, it sounds like it might be a good question. Let me see if I like the question. Go ahead. Maybe for the first time in 3 years, I'll have a good question, and I'll love it.
There is a report that came out just before the
Took several items from the location last in the consulate towards Freedom Fitness, Control 3.
I love that question. It shows that Schiff is a fraud. And I love that question. Thank you, John.
Can we finish this question?
There's nothing to finish.
So the whistleblower put in this report.
It's a 2006 Hyundai Civic, silver in color with a paper
I hate to say it's the New York
tag.
Times. I can't believe they wrote it.
Your response to the
Maybe they're
fact
getting
that
better.
your response to the fact that that happened and that Schiffman had learned some of what the whistleblower knew.
Well, I think it's a scandal that he knew before. I go a step further. I think he probably helped write it. Okay? That's what the word is. And I think it's, I give a lot of respect to the New York Times for putting it out. Just happened as I'm walking up with it. And I said to Mike, I said, whoa, that's something. That's big stuff. That's a big story. He knew long before, and he helped write it.
Major accident at the school.
Just to finish on this, I appreciate it. I love that section.
Now needs to be a white water passenger car hit a reflective sign.
But let me just tell you, the whole thing is a scam. The Mueller deal was a scam. The Russian collusion was a scam. You can ask Putin. Nobody's been rougher on Russia than Donald Trump. Okay? Now, with that being said, it'd be great to get along with Russia. And we will get along with Russia because it's smart. But nobody's been tougher than Russia and Donald Trump. Okay, last one, please.
Yes, President Yanushko, good to see you again. You had a conversation with President Trump about 5G, how Nokia, Finland's big company, could fill in that space. You also met with Chinese President Xi during the summer in which you renewed the ties of friendship between the two nations. Do you believe that
I'm in the area. Which church is hell they're going?
I'm Mystic Star, I'll see you northbound Mystic Star from Woodridge.
Are at risk of national security?
Thank you. Like I told already, in Europe the situation is maybe a bit different from that here. Because the main company you mentioned is inside Europe, partly at least. What the European Union is now doing is making a research system, asking each country what kind of experience what you have seen and found out. And that will be well finished in week 2 or 2 weeks' time.
Come out of Gold Star, Mystic Star, he comes back out.
Together in the European Union, which kind of tools we need to protect ourselves. You referred to my discussions with President Xi. We didn't talk about 5G while meeting. And we all know Nokia is a major factor in this area. They will answer for themselves. Thank you.
Pick somebody who's really nice from Finland.
No,
you have a really
Finnish,
nice person?
Finnish,
I think they're all nice in Finland.
other Finnish reporters. Just 2. Okay. Did I recommend? Yes.
Bravo 41, the people's description.
Portal passenger car, Lee Connection, William 500, keeps back to 91 miles.
Political storm
Wait, may not be right.
foreign policy, especially its relationship with Finland, and second for President Minister, because this is the biggest issue here at the moment.
There's any aircraft that place to whiteboard one.
Favors has recently asked for.
Or the other way around. Yeah.
What favors I asked for?
I think you mean the other way around.
Both ways. Okay.
So the political storm, I've lived with it from the day I got elected. I've done more, and this administration has done more than any administration in the history of this country in the first 2.5 years. I'm used to it. For me, it's like putting on a suit in the morning. People have said to me, how does he handle it? Rush Limbaugh said, I don't know of any man in America that could handle it. Sean Hannity said the same thing. Others have said the same thing. I don't know any man in America because it's all a fraud. And because of that, and because I know that I'm right, because I'm doing a great job for the American people, I'm very, very happy living the way I'm living. I thought that I would finish off the first term without the threat of people making false claims. But this one turned out to be incredible, all because they didn't know that I had a transcript done by very, very talented people, word for word, comma for comma, done by people that do it for a living. We had an exact transcript. And when we produced that transcript, they died. Because you look at the whistleblower statement, and it's vicious. Vicious. And that whistleblower, there's no question in my mind that some bad things have gone on, and I think we'll get to the bottom of it. I think it's going to be a total reversal. But I've lived with this. I've lived with this tribunal for almost 3 years. Probably started even before. And I think nobody has done what I've done when you look at tax cuts and regulation cuts and rebuilding our military and right to try. That means people that are terminally ill and very sick have the right to use our medicines.
He's got the reckless driving.
Because we're so far ahead of every other country. So many things that we've done.
Black male, white shirt, black pants,
Vets are now taken care of. We got choice. Nobody thought we could ever get choice. That's when you have to wait in line as a vet. You go outside, you get a doctor, we pay the bill. You don't have to wait for 3 weeks to see a doctor if you're a vet. We cherish our vets. At least this administration does, but for many years they didn't. But I take care of the vets. No administration has done, and I've lived with it from the day I got elected. So I'm just fine with it.
We had a conversation and discussion on a very equal basis, which is, I really appreciate that. Well, I had one request specifically. I wanted the President to take more notice on transatlantic relations.
Adam 410,
because
you were asking we still have the call for the
it's useful both for
lights call?
USA and
No, coming from the lights call, but that PI call for you know, Mark, and if they're intoxicated in the room, then that's where they need to be.
I told the President that the big
That's what.
purchase
I was just wondering if you have any other info on that.
will be finished in 2 years'
Negative,
time.
that's the only info we have so
We
far.
have 5 different candidates, 3 from Europe and 2 from the United States. He answered that ours is best.
Delta 40, I'm at the strike. What are the comments?
Jeff, go ahead.
Chairman, now on idiot.
Jeff Mason from Reuters. Mr. President, I'd like to ask you about your use of the word treason.
Put you on that call.
You've used it repeatedly in the last few days. Do you consider anyone who opposes you treasonous?
No, I consider when they lie, when they stand before our great body in our great chamber, and they make up a story that's fiction, like Shifter. He took that perfect conversation I had with the Ukrainian president, and he made it into a total lie. It was a total fabrication. And you do admit that. It was a total fabrication. He said this is what, and the only ones that don't like my conversation are the ones that never read it, but they heard Shifty Schiff. That's what I call a lie, and because of the fact that he's lying about the President of the United States and is to what the President says, you know, I believe it or not, I watch my words very carefully. There are those that think I'm a very stable genius. I watch my words very, very closely. And to have somebody get up and to totally fabricate a conversation that I had with another leader and make it sound so bad, it was so evil. And now I see this that just came out minutes ago, where he met at a time that was impossible to have done unless there's corruption involved. And just so you know, we've been investigating on a personal basis through Rudy and others, lawyers, corruption in the 2016 election. We've been investigating corruption because I probably will, I was going to definitely, but I probably will be bringing a lot of litigation against a lot of people having to do with the corrupt investigation, having to do with the 2016 election. And I have every right to do that. Because the way they've treated me and other people, they've destroyed people. They've destroyed their lives with a phony charge that never existed, and that was collusion, never existed. And you had 18 people that hated Donald Trump, and you had Bob Mueller that hated Donald Trump. And in the end, they couldn't find one damn thing. I could find it on you. They couldn't find one thing about Donald Trump having to do with collusion. This is after 2 years and spending $42 million. And I've been looking at that long and hard for a long period of time. How it started, why it started. It should never happen to another president, ever. But I've been talking about it from the standpoint of bringing a major lawsuit, and I've been talking about it for a long time. We've been investigating the corruption having to do with what they did to my people. They destroyed many people. They came down to Washington to do a great job, and they left home. They left Washington dark. They were dark. They came down here, I say bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. They wanted to do a great job for the people. They wanted to do a great job. We won the election. And then they get served with subpoenas. All these subpoenas. Now look at Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi hands out subpoenas like, you know, she has to approve it. She hands out subpoenas like they're cookies. You want a subpoena? Here you go, take them like they're cookies. Paul Ryan would never give anybody a subpoena. He wouldn't give them when Mark Meadows went in to talk. He wouldn't give them when Jim Jordan went in, when Devin Nunes. He would go in and they'd see Paul. I'm not saying wrong or right, but Paul Ryan, no, let's talk about it. That's a big thing to give a subpoena. Let's talk about it. 2 weeks later, they're still talking. They wanted subpoenas to investigate the corrupt Democrats and the corrupt people on the other side. Paul Ryan would not give subpoenas. Nancy Pelosi, here you go. Take it. Who wants a subpoena? Every day you get subpoenas. And Paul Ryan was actually right, probably, because they should never, ever allow a thing like this to happen to our country again. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, can you just make clear right here, what do you or what did you want President Zelensky to do with regard to doing?
If you look at what he said, okay, and he brought it up. I think he brought up the name Rudy Giuliani. What I want is the following, and I've said this loud and clear. We have our ambassadors here. We have Mike Pence here. Why are we the only ones that give the big money to the Ukraine? We give money to Ukraine, and it's bothered me from day one, and you have plenty of people just here. I say, how come it's always the United States that gets ripped? Frankly, Ukraine, we want to help them. And I do like the new president. You know why I like him? Because he was honest. Because he said there was no pressure at all exerted on me, meaning him, by the President of the United States. He said it. By the way, that one sentence should stop there. But he said there was no pressure exerted. But you don't have to ask him. All you have to do is read the transcript, read the telephone call. But what I was having a problem with the truth is, number one, Ukraine is known before him for tremendous corruption. Tremendous. More than just about any country in the world. In fact, they're rated one of the most corrupt countries in the world. And I don't like giving money to a country that's that corrupt. Number two, I said, excuse me, number two, I said the following, and I said this loud and clear to everybody. And in fact, Rob Portman backed me up, and there's nobody more honorable than Rob Portman of Ohio. Because he called up, please let the money go. I said, Rob, I hate being the country that's always giving money. When Ukraine helps Europe and the European countries far more than they help us. They're like a wall between Russia and Europe. They're like a wall. They're a big, wide, beautiful wall. And he said, you know what, but it's important. And in fact, he came out and he said that. That was my only reason. Because I don't like being the sucker country. We were the sucker country for years and years. We're not the sucker country anymore. But I gave the money because Rob Portman and others called me and asked. But I don't like to be the sucker. And European countries are helped far more than we are. And those countries should pay more to help Ukraine.
A little better, but you're still coming up a lot of static.
Thank you, sir.
But Biden and his son are stone cold crooked. And you know it. His son walks out with millions of dollars. The kid knows nothing. You know it, and so do they. Go ahead, ask the question.
The question, sir, was what did you want President Zelensky to do about it?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, it was just a follow-up of what I just asked you, sir.
Listen, you ready? We have the President of Finland. Ask him a question.
I have one for him. I just wanted to follow up on the one that I asked you. Which
Did you hear me?
Did you
hear me?
It is asking about
I will, but
I'm giving you a long answer. Ask this gentleman a question. Don't be rude.
No, sir, I don't want to be rude. I just wanted you to have a chance to answer the question I asked you.
Answered everything. It's a whole hoax. And you know who's playing into the hoax? People like you and the fake news media that we have in this country. And I say in many cases, the corrupt media, because you're corrupt. Much of the media in this country is not just fake, it's corrupt. And you have some very fine people, too. Great journalists, great reporters. But to a large extent, it's corrupt and it's fake. Ask the President of Finland the question, please.
I'll move on now. Mr. President, in your opening remarks, you said to President Trump that you had been to some museums today and that you respected the U.S. democracy and encouraged him to continue it. Are you concerned that that's not happening? And my second question to you, sir, is the WTO ruled today in favor of the United States, saying that the United States can now impose tariffs on European goods because of illegal subsidies against Airbus.
It was a big win for the United States, right?
You
You never had wins with other presidents, did you? But we're having a lot of wins at the WTO.
This was a
since I
case
became
that started, I think, 10 or 15 years ago. But
Excuse me. Your wins are now because they think I don't like the WTO and they want to make sure I'm happy. Because all of those countries were ripping off the United States for many years. They know that I'm wise to it. We've had a lot of wins. This was a $7 billion win. Not bad.
But I think the question is for me.
So the question, sir, is if you're concerned that the president will impose those tariffs and the effect that that may have on the economy.
Yes, first of all, when I referred to your democracy, I just wanted to tell that I'm impressed what American people have gained during these decades, hundreds of years, building up a very impressive democracy. So keep it going on. To WTO, I have a lot of respect to multilateralism and to international institutions. So WTO has given me a decision which is quite tough with Europe. I just say that the WTO has said its opinion, and that's it.
I just want to finish by saying it's an honor to be with the President of Finland. Done a fantastic job, very popular, beloved over in Finland. The WTO has been much better to us since I've been president because they understand they can't get away with what they've been getting away with for so many years, which is ripping off the United States. And please remember the President's last remarks, that we are a great democracy. We are a great, the United States is a great democracy. And I'm airing what I'm airing because we are in fact a democracy. And if the press were straight and honest and forthright and tough, we would be a far greater nation. We would be a far greater when we don't have the CNNs of the world who are corrupt people. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yep.
Adam 440 inbound. 10-4.
Thank you very much.
Just like a 4564 call.
Today,
He was just wanting to
it is
report
my honor to welcome President Sergio Mattarella of Italy to the White House. We've known each other for a while. We've dealt with each other for a while. And we've had some really great conversations. We've had a very productive discussion throughout the day with our staffs and representatives, and I look forward to hosting the President and his daughter Laura at a reception for the Italian Americans this evening. I look forward to that very much. The United States and Italy are bound together by a shared cultural and political heritage dating back thousands of years to ancient Rome. Over the centuries, the Italian people have blessed our civilization with magnificent works of art, science, philosophy, architecture, and music. On Monday, we pay tribute to the Italian explorer who led a voyage of discovery to the New World. A gentleman known as Christopher Columbus, and to me it will always be called Columbus Day. Some people don't like that, I do. Today the United States and Italy draw strength from our cherished heritage as we work together to safeguard our people and promote prosperity. As NATO allies, our countries cooperate closely on a wide range of critical defense issues, including the protection of our nations against radical Islamic terrorism. The problem is that Italy is only paying 1.1% instead of the mandated 2%, which by and of itself is a low number. It should be probably 4%, anywhere from 4 to 5%. Only 8 of the 28 NATO countries are paying the 2%, meaning 20 of the countries are delinquent in the payment to NATO, and they have been for many years. Germany is at 1.3% at most, depending on calculations. Spain is at less than 1%. Turkey, believe it or not, is almost current, almost paid up. And I want to just thank Secretary General Stoltenberg because he's going around saying that President Trump was able to raise over $100 billion last year, which is true. But it's still only a large fraction, still a large fraction of the amount of money that's owed by many of the countries that aren't paying their dues. We hope that Italy will boost its defense spending in order to meet NATO's minimum 2% of GDP. And I will say that they have just purchased, and we learned about it today, 90 brand new beautiful F-35s. The strike fighter program is doing phenomenally well. One of our major challenges and the challenge facing NATO today is instability in the Mediterranean, North Africa areas. And much of the volatility in that region stems from the violence in Libya, which is very close to Italy's borders. The President and I were talking about that at great length, big problem. The ongoing Libyan conflict has led to a migration crisis, placing significant and unfair burdens on Italy in particular. I've asked that the European Union get much more involved because they're not involved enough. That's a problem for the European Union. They do very well with us on trade. They had a trade surplus with the United States over the last 5 or 6 years of about $150 billion a year. They have to get more involved and help Italy. The Italian government has stepped up as a leader to fight this illegal immigration. We urge also our NATO and European partners to take firm action to halt illegal immigration and uphold sovereign borders. Immigration control is critical to national security and essential to the well-being of our citizens. Nations must be able to vet, screen, and properly manage entry and admission into society. You know the legislation that we had passed. We have absolutely no help from the Democrats on our borders, absolutely nothing. The closure of loopholes, which would be very easy to do, they refuse to do. They want open borders, and Italy doesn't want open borders. And we're not going to have open borders. And our numbers are very good. I want to thank also Mexico and the President of Mexico for the great help they've given us. They've helped us much more than the Democrats. Here in the United States, we're taking dramatic action to secure our borders, shut down smuggling networks, and speed the removal of illegal immigrants. We're moving the MS-13 gang members out literally by the thousands. They're getting out. We're dropping them out of our country, and they can't come back. And what we've done with Guatemala and Honduras and El Salvador is, they tell me, close to a miracle, the agreements that we've signed. They accept them back and they keep them back. It's a much different relationship than we've ever had with those three countries, and I want to thank the leadership of those three countries. We've been working very well together. Our message is clear. If you enter illegally the United States, you will be promptly returned home. They're all returning home. It's a long time because we've had years of people coming in, staying, and that's the end of that. President Mattarella also discussed the steps we must take to enhance commerce and economic growth between our two countries. Our nations are already investing nearly $70 billion in each other's economies without the burdens, as unfair as they are, imposed by the European Union. And we would actually have a much higher number than $70 billion. We can do more, and we can achieve fairness and reciprocity, which we don't have right now. America's trade deficit with Italy accounts for about 20% of our nearly $150 to $170 billion. Probably, according to some estimates, could even be $178 billion annual trade deficit with the European Union. We welcome Italy's support for a mutually beneficial trade agreement with the EU that ensures a level playing field for American workers, and it hasn't been that for many, many years. I could solve the problem instantly, but it would be too harsh. It would be too harsh. It would involve tariffs on European products coming into this country, and for right now, we're going to try and do it without that. But that would solve the problem instantly because the United States is not being treated fairly. We also welcome Italy's participation in combating predatory trade and investment practices worldwide, especially in technology. We must work together to shield our intellectual property, critical infrastructure, ports, and data security. I applaud Italy's recent commitment to use only safe and trustworthy technology providers, components, and supply chains, especially relating to the 5G networks. We will work together to take further steps to secure the technology of the future. And speaking of 5G and how it relates to China, we've done a rather incredible trade deal, especially right now, phase one, for our farmers and for the finance industry, financial services. And it's been really quite amazing. Excuse me. Is there a problem back there?
151.
It's been quite amazing. The level of receptivity has been much different than in the past. China and myself, our representatives, their representatives, from $40 to $50 billion in farm products, agricultural products. People said we were hoping for 20. So China's been good, and they've already started purchasing, by the way. That's already started. The agreement, we hope to have it signed sometime prior to Chile. We're going to Chile. President Xi and myself will probably do a signing over there of phase one, assuming it all gets finished up, which we think it will. There's been a lot of goodwill between the United States and China over the last year. So we're signing from $40 to $50 billion, and that will, because it was incorrectly reported in the press, shockingly, that will take place. It's already started taking place. They're already purchasing a lot of farm product. All of the banking regulations and all of the financial services, all of the other things have been included. And there are many other things in phase one that I won't talk about now, but all of that is moving along rapidly. Bob Lighthizer is with us someplace here, and he is in the process of getting it completed. Have a great staff of people working on both sides. Mr. President, it's a true pleasure to host you in our nation's capital, you and your family, and your deeply personal relationship to your country. You love your country so much. Just in speaking to you for a short while, I see how much you love Italy, and I can understand that. It's really an inspiration, a testament to the patriotism and pride of the Italian people. Great spirit for Italy. America is grateful to have two friends and allies in the citizens of Italy. We have such a great relationship with the people of Italy. The United States is likewise thankful to be home to more than 16 million Italian Americans. Tonight, here at the White House, we'll celebrate our deep and abiding friendship with Italy and the really incredible Italian people. The U.S.-Italian alliance is stronger than ever before. We're going to be celebrating that tonight with you, Mr. President. So I look forward to that very much in a little while. And thank you very much, and we'd like to have you say a few words. Thank you.
I want to thank President Trump very much for his invitation and for the welcome, both to myself and to my entire delegation. The relationship between the United States and Italy are marked by a deep friendship and by common interests, both strengthened by the presence here in the U.S. of so many Americans of Italian descent. That's another reason why I'm so happy to be here on this visit in October, dedicated this year again to Italian heritage. I'd like to go back to what President Trump was saying when he mentioned Christopher Columbus, who opened up new horizons. He got to know and connected continents which ignored one another. And based on the role the U.S. has in the world, it seems to me that we
5513 is heading to an ID call right now.
To Italy, the U.S. is not only a fundamental ally, it is also a country with which it shares the same path of democracy. A country which shares the same values of freedom, human rights, the respect for minorities, of the rule of law. Italy's international vision is based on the pillar, which is the Atlantic Alliance, which then over time also led to European integration of the European Union. which was a consistent process. These were two essential elements in our foreign policy and in our cooperation. We are united. The U.S., Italy, and Europe are united due to our history, due to our common references, due to the culture we share, and due to the very intense human relations we have between our fellow citizens. As President Trump mentioned earlier, we talked about NATO. And NATO is first and foremost a community of values, which Italy recognizes and to which Italy participates with a great deal of conviction and very factually. Italy has always contributed very intensely to NATO missions and operations, and with a great deal of effectiveness, have substantially supported the activities of the alliance. And it actually reminded us that besides being the fifth contributor to NATO, Italy is the second contributor in terms of the troops it devotes to NATO missions. And after the U.S., we rank number 2 in the number of troops participating in NATO operations. Along with all of the other missions we perform through the UN and in the coalition against terrorism. As we speak, 6 are patrolling the skies over Iceland within the framework of a...
They actually canceled that ID call.
As a way of ensuring Italy has constantly reiterated that the transatlantic spirit has to be nurtured and protected with all of our strength and all the dimensions of the relationship we share. And with this spirit in mind, we hope, I hope, that with the new 5-year parliamentary term within the new European Union, we can foster our cooperation and trade between the U.S.
Number 3, 113 Charlton. Number 3, contact for Churchill.
We are aiming to define solutions that can strengthen our relationships, because commercial trade tensions are to the benefit of no one. We feel that imposing tariffs on one another mutually is counterproductive. Damages both of our economies. And I'd like to add that we share with the U.S. the belief that the WTO should be reformed as a way of making it more efficient and more effective. As we talk about Syria, we are deeply concerned with Turkey's offensive in the northeastern part of Syria. And this attack in a limited number of days has already caused a number of casualties and tens of thousands of refugees.
There's shots there at Holly Park, 64 feet away, Middle Vista, 10 to 15 shots in the area.
There are plenty of victims of civilians as well. This is an attack which also has another risk, namely that of offering new space, which was unthinkable after a few days ago to ISIS, and to its criminal terrorist activities in Syria, in the Middle East, but not just in the Middle East, also in other continents around the world. Italy, in line with the EU's position, condemns the Turkish operations which are ongoing. We've also talked about Libya. And in a very tangible way, the current situation in Libya is a source of deep concern to us. We are convinced of the fact that the violence and the military attacks can destabilize all of North Africa. It increases the threat of terrorism, and it contributes to creating an environment which fosters all kinds of illegal trafficking. And of course, it jeopardizes the production of energy in their country. And most of all, it denies the Libyan people the possibility of finding a peaceful solution, which it deserves for so many years. We talked about our relationships with China today, President Trump. And through an open dialogue with China, we want to defend the world order based on clear rules with the UN, at the center of the world order, and an open and fair market, one which complies with the principles of the World Trade Organization. And from this point of view, we discussed two topics, namely security concerning new technologies, and I'm referring to 5G. Italy has been paying close attention to our national security requirements. It has paid close attention to it, and it will continue to do so. We also underlined the need to have a level playing field in trade and in investments, so that there can be a fair and healthy trade relationship. There needs to be an access to the market which doesn't discriminate anybody. And we need to be able to protect intellectual property for all of the economic players involved without any theft of technology. All of these topics were discussed with a full spirit of friendship, with a great deal of cooperation, along with many other topics. And this opportunity was also an excellent opportunity to reiterate the friendship between the U.S. and Italy, and the very strong relationship between our two countries within the framework of the Atlantic Alliance. And for that reason, I want to thank President Trump very much for our meeting, for our talks, for your welcome. And I'll be seeing you again this afternoon on an occasion which will be filled with a great many elements of meaning and importance. Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. And the WTO, the World Trade Organization, as everyone knows, we just won $7.5 billion because of unfair trade practices. And that will be distributed in a fair way throughout various countries in Europe, and we're talking to the President about that as it pertains to Italy. He thought we were a little bit harsh on Italy, and we don't want to be harsh on Italy.
Bravo 435, we'll be transporting on Del Mel.
Very strongly. We will look at that for you. That was one of the requests made, and we will be taking a look at that. Please.
Mr. President, I wanted to ask about Turkey. Did President Erdogan's decisions surprise you? And if they did not surprise you, would you make the same decision as you made before in removing U.S. forces? And I guess we just heard that UAW and GM may have been able to work out a deal. If I could get your reaction to that and what that might mean for the U.S. economy. And Mr. President, if I could ask you about the digital tax. Did the two of you discuss a possible digital tax as it relates to Amazon and Google? What progress were you able to make on that?
President Erdogan's decision didn't surprise me because he's wanted to do that for a long time. He's been building up troops on the border with Syria for a long time, as you know. Our soldiers are mostly gone from the area. We only had 26, 28, but under 50. I think it's probably 28, but under 50 soldiers, and which is a very tiny force. And it didn't surprise me at all. This is they've been warring for many years. It's unnatural for us, but it's sort of natural for them. They fight, and they fight long, and they fight hard, and they've been fighting Syria for a long time, and on the border, that's the border with Syria. And I say, why are we protecting Syria's land? Assad's not a friend of ours. Why are we protecting their land? And Syria also has a relationship with the Kurds, who, by the way, are no angels, okay? Who is an angel? There aren't too many around. But Syria has a relationship with the Kurds, so they'll come in for the border, and they'll fight. They may bring partners in. They could bring Russia in, and I say welcome to it. Russia went into Afghanistan when it was the Soviet Union, and it became Russia. It became a much smaller country because of Afghanistan. You can overextend. You can do a lot of things, but frankly, if Russia is going to help in protecting the Kurds, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. But It would be led by Syria. And Syria doesn't want Turkey to take its land. I can understand that. But what does that have to do with the United States of America? If they're fighting over Syria's land, are we supposed to fight a NATO member in order that Syria, who is not our friend, keeps their land? I don't think so. But Syria does have a relationship with the Kurds. Terror is more of a terrorist threat in many ways than ISIS. So it's a very semi-complicated, not too complicated if you're smart, but it's a semi-complicated problem. And I think it's a problem that we have very nicely under control. We have two countries wanting their land. We have one country that wants land, perhaps that doesn't belong to them because they want to have a 22-mile strip of, they call it freedom. They call it a lot of things. They want to get terrorists out. You have another country that says you can't have our land, and they're going to have to work that out. Now, with that being said, Vice President Mike Pence is going there. He'll be leaving either late tonight or tomorrow. And it's going to leave yesterday, but they have to have certain security done. Very important man in our country. And he'll be leaving with Secretary of State Pompeo. We already have representatives there negotiating with Turkey. We put massive sanctions on Turkey.
Medic 6, Summer Fall, 5901 Weber, 5901 Weber.
Iran on the basis we're going to bring our great soldiers back home. You don't have to fight these endless wars. Bring them back home. That's what I want. Some people, whether you call it the military-industrial complex or beyond that, they like me to stay. One of the problems I have, and one of, for instance, with the witch hunt, you have people that want me to stay, they want me to fight forever. They do very well fighting. That's what they want to do, fight. A lot of companies want to fight because they make their weapons based on fighting, not based on peace. And they take care of a lot of people. I want to bring our soldiers back home. We're not a police force. We're a fighting force. We're the greatest fighting force ever. I spent $2.5 trillion over the last almost 3 years rebuilding our military. When I took it over, it was a mess. It was an absolute mess. It was totally depleted. You know that. A lot of people know that. Honest people all know that. When I was thinking about having to do something, one of our generals came in to see me and he said, "Sir, we don't have ammunition." I said, "That's a terrible thing you just said." I said, "We don't have ammunition." Now we have more ammunition than we've ever had. We have more missiles. We have more rockets. Our nuclear's been totally updated and in some cases new. Hopefully, to God, we never have to use it. But we have the most powerful nuclear base by far in the world. And we have things that we never had before. We have a great modern military, but that doesn't mean we're going to waste it. It doesn't mean we're going to deplete it like we did before with these crazy, endless wars. So, Turkey and Syria will hopefully work it out between themselves. Hopefully, ISIS will be guarded. I spoke with, as you know, a wonderful man yesterday, a general, from the Kurds. You all know who I'm talking about. Some of you have seen the letter that I put out to Erdogan. I gave it to him, President Erdogan, and some of you have seen it. With the general, I said, listen, don't open those doors and let them out just to create more havoc so that we come in. Because some of those doors were just opened. Let's create some havoc and some political exposure for the President of the United States. We were the ones that we were the ones that got ISIS. We're the ones that took care of it, specifically me, because I'm the one that gave the order, because when I came in under President Obama, ISIS was a disaster all over that area. I was the one that got them. We were the ones that captured them. And I will say this, that Russia, Iran, Syria, and to maybe a slightly lesser extent, Turkey, they all hate ISIS as much as we do. And it's their part of the world. We're 7,000 miles away. I campaigned on bringing our soldiers back home. And that's what I'm doing. That includes other places, too, many other places. Statutorily, it takes a period of time. Diplomatically, it takes a period of time.
Delta 365, your case number is going to be 11.
Many countries, many countries. I'm embarrassed to tell you how many. I know the exact number, but I'm embarrassed to say it because it's so foolish. We're protecting countries that don't even like us. They take advantage of us. They don't pay. nothing. You probably saw, some of you wrote and covered the fact that we're sending some additional troops to Saudi Arabia. That's true, and I appreciate the fact that I negotiated for a short period of time units with Saudi Arabia, and they agreed to pay for the full cost of all of that deployment, and more, much more. A very rich country, they should be paying, and so should many other countries be paying if they want this kind of protection. Same thing with NATO. We're at 4%, and other countries are at 1%, and certainly a European country benefits much more than we do with NATO. It's there for a reason. And perhaps we benefit, but not nearly as much as the European countries. Some people say we don't benefit at all. We put ourselves in harm's way. But we do that for Europe, but then they treat us badly on trade. Not fair. So I would say that we're in a great position. We're doing what I said. We have two countries that are going to argue we're going to try and work it out. I think our vice president is a very capable man. Will do well tomorrow. He's going to meet with President Erdogan. President Erdogan said he wouldn't meet with anybody, and he took that back just a little while ago, and he said no, I won't. And I think they'll have a successful meeting. If they don't, the sanctions and tariffs and other things that we're doing, we will do and are doing to Turkey, will be devastating to Turkey's economy. I got Pastor Brunson home. Nobody else could do it. The previous administration tried very hard. They were unable to do it. I did it very quickly. And let's see what happens. But I think we'll be successful. But we got to get out of the endless wars. We have to bring our troops back home. I go to Walter Reed and I get out Purple Hearts. Just did it on Friday. I see the incredible soldiers coming home to Dover, coming home in a coffin. In areas that we have nothing to do with. We have nothing to do with. And it's heartbreaking. I sign letters all the time to parents whose son was shot in different places in the Middle East, mostly. It's very heartbreaking to see. Very heartbreaking. So I've said it, and it's through strength, not through weakness. It's much harder to do what I'm doing. I could be like all of these others. Oh, just leave them there, leave them there. No, I can't do it. Much easier for me, much probably politically better for me just to say we'll leave a lot of people there and we'll fight. They don't even know what they're fighting for. It's much more difficult politically. It's not politically expedient, it's just the opposite. And I have people even on my side. I say, why are we fighting? I don't know. They don't even know. So you have Syria and you have Turkey. They're going to argue it out. Maybe they're going to fight it out. But our men aren't going to get killed over it. And just one other thing. They've been fighting for hundreds of years. It's been going on for hundreds of years. So it's a long answer, but I think I got much of it out. Thank you very much. Please, question.
17, engine 4, static 11, Flight 14, rescue 3 in truck 4, caller advised from apartment, 45 years indoors, can hear alarm going off at the location, but that's a burn. No blind showing at this time. All units broke off group 7 at 4:30.
Sure, thank you. Mr. President, I was asking if the two of you discussed a possible digital tax and where that discussion might be going, in particular as it might relate to Google and Amazon and others. Thank you, sir.
Ho compreso this is an open issue. It's very important. It is being discussed in a number of different international contexts so that this important issue can be discussed and solved.
By the way, the digital tax, I have to say, is interesting because I did discuss it with another European Union member, namely France, and France is basically doing the digital tax. And I'm no fan of those companies. They were against me. Somebody said I lost maybe 2 million votes by them all on Facebook. But these are American companies, and whether you like it or not, they're great, big American companies. And I'm not happy with the digital tax where France and the European Union is taxing our companies. And as you know, we imposed a big tax on French wine because of it. So just to answer your question, Kevin, I'm not happy about the fact that they are taxing our companies. I'm not a fan of those companies, but if anybody's going to tax those companies, it should be the USA. It shouldn't be France and the European Union, who have really taken advantage of the United States. Thank you very much. Good question. Okay, you can pick somebody.
Giovanna Pantieri, Sky.
I'll take care of it. By one
Adesso meglio? Riesce a sentirmi, Presidente? Per quanto riguarda la Siria.
As far as Syria is concerned, in recent days, you talked about the risks Europe runs in terms of not responding to the situation. In recent days, some European countries, including Italy, has discussed the possible ban on selling weapons to Turkey. I think this could be another way to respond to the situation. Also considering that Turkey is and continues to be a member of NATO.
Mr. President, I would like to ask you, on September 27, Attorney General Barr has been in Rome to meet with Italian intelligence officials. I would like to know if you personally talked with Prime Minister Conte to arrange this meeting, which kind of information Attorney General Barr was looking for, and if you were satisfied from the information the Italian was given to you.
Well, I don't know. I just know that our country is looking into the corruption of the 2016 election. It was a corrupt election, whether it's Comey or McCabe or Strzok or his lover Lisa Page, two great lovers. There was a lot of corruption. Maybe it goes right up to President Obama. I happen to think it does. But you look at Brennan, and you look at Clapper, and you get some real beauties. I know that they're looking into the corruption. Obviously, the IG report's coming out soon, so we'll find out. I don't know anything about the meeting, but certainly it would be appropriate because the word is, and you read it in the same papers that I do, that they did go to other countries to try and hide what they were doing. Italy may have been one of them. So you really have to ask Attorney General Barr. Thank you.
Sì, la Turchia. Yes, Turkey is a member of NATO, and that is something very important, of course. I'd like to remind you of the fact that currently there is an Italian contribution to Turkey. We have an anti-missile system which Italy has been having in Turkey for a number of years within the context of a NATO mission. As the Latin said, amicus platus de amica veritas, which means something more important than a friendship is the truth. The relationships of friendships and alliances, of course, don't mean that we can't say that the Turkish attack on Syria is a serious mistake. So we condemn that attack with no hesitation whatsoever, for the reasons I mentioned earlier. The solution, of course, doesn't lie in sanctions. And if the situation continues, sanctions will be inevitable. And Italy has made announcements, as has the European Union. The only solution is to stop all military operations and to retreat from that area as a way of stopping all of the dangers that I mentioned earlier.
Left leg, complaint of left knee pain, no obvious deformities noted.
John, go ahead.
I want to pick up on what you commented on Turkey and Syria. Even after all you have seen, ISIS prisoners freed, all the humanitarian disaster, you don't have any regret for giving Erdogan the green light to invade?
I didn't give him a green light.
But did you tell him?
That's
did he
the same
defy
thing
you?
as you just, when you make a statement like that, it's so deceptive. Just the opposite of a green light. First of all, we had virtually no soldiers there. They were mostly gone. Just a tiny little group. And they would have been in harm's way. You have a massive army on the other side of the border. But more importantly, I didn't give him a green light. And if anybody saw the letter, which can be released very easily if you'd like, I could certainly release it. But I wrote a letter right after that conversation, a very powerful letter. It was never given a green light. They've been wanting to do that for years, and frankly, they've been fighting for many, many years. And when you ask a question like that, it's very deceptive, John. It's almost as deceptive as you showing all of the bombings taking place in Syria. And it turned out that the bombing that you showed on television took place in Kentucky. So, I'm not even sure that ABC apologized for that, but certainly it was a terrible thing. I'm looking at this, I say, wow, that's pretty bad. And it was in Kentucky, it wasn't in Syria, so I don't know what you're going to do about that, but I think ABC owes an apology.
You see, Lindsey Graham just said of your remarks that you made in the Oval Office that if you keep talking like that, quote, this will be a disaster worse than Obama's decision to leave
carbon monoxide alarm
Lindsey Graham would like to stay in the Middle East for the next 1,000 years with thousands of soldiers and fighting other people's wars. I want to get out of the Middle East. I think Lindsey should focus right now on judiciary, like the Democrats, the do-nothing Democrats, as I call them, because they're doing nothing. They're getting nothing done. They're not getting USMCA done between Canada, the United States, and Mexico. They're getting nothing done. And I think Lindsey should focus on judiciary. He ought to find out about what happened with Comey, what happened with McCabe, Lisa, what happened with Peter Strzok, what happened with President Obama, what happened with Brennan. That's what Lindsey ought to focus on. That's what the people of South Carolina want him to focus on. The people of South Carolina don't want us to get into a war with Turkey, a NATO member, or with Syria. Let them fight their own wars. They've been fighting for 1,000 years. Let them fight their own wars. The people of South Carolina want to see those troops come home, and I want an election based on that, and that's the way it is, whether it's good or bad. That's the way it is. And if you look at this country, I'd be willing to bet anything, political instinct, that that's what the country wants. I'm not going to get involved in a war between Turkey and Syria, especially when, if you look at the Kurds, and again, I say this with great respect, they're no angels. If you look at PKK, take a look at PKK. ISIS respects PKK. You know why? Because they're as tough or tougher than ISIS. You take a look at a lot of the things having to do, you have to say it, nobody wants to say it. We're making the Kurds look like they're angels. We paid a lot of money to the Kurds, tremendous amounts of money. We've given them massive fortunes. And you know what? It's wonderful. They fought with us. We paid a lot for them to fight with us. But just so you understand, we were the ones that captured ISIS. People let some go. They opened a couple of doors to make us look as bad as possible. We have a situation where Turkey is taking land from Syria. Syria is not happy about it. Let them work it out. We shouldn't be over there. And you should get your accounts correct. And you shouldn't be showing up buildings blowing up in Kentucky and say it's Syria, because that really is fake news. Yes, please, ask a question.
But you don't think the country's worried about ISIS? I mean, you mentioned earlier you think some of the countries might hate ISIS more than the United States.
Absolutely. Russia hates ISIS. Russia hates ISIS as much as the United States does. Iran hates ISIS. I mean, we're fighting a war for Russia. We're fighting a war for Iran. You look at Syria. Syria hates ISIS. We're over there. Turkey is right there. They all hate ISIS. Turkey a little bit less so, but the others very much. Russia had a plane blown up by ISIS. Russia wants nothing to do with ISIS. Russia's tough. They can kill ISIS just as well, and they happen to be in their neighborhood. And all I'm saying is this. I'm not going to lose potentially thousands and tens of thousands of American soldiers fighting a war between Turkey and Syria. Syria is not our friend. Assad is not our friend. That's the way it goes. But please ask a question.
But Mr. President, you said you withdrew 28 troops.
28. They say it was 28. We thought it was 50, but it was about 28. 26 to 28 troops.
And
all accounted for. Nobody injured. Listen. All accounted for. Nobody injured. Nobody missing. It's really nice.
But look what's happened since those troops were withdrawn and since you had that conversation with President Erdogan.
You know what's happened? No American soldiers have been killed. That's what's happened. And other people will go in, and very easy to recapture those people that probably the Kurds let go to make a little bit stronger political impact. And that's okay. I fully understand it, but that's the way it goes. We're bringing our soldiers back home, and we've done a great job. We were supposed to be in Syria for 1 month. That was 10 years ago. And we've been a police force. It's time to bring our soldiers back home. That's the way it is. We've had no soldiers injured or hurt. That's because I'm president. And we're the boss. Just remember that. We have the most powerful military in the world by far.
Mr. President, what is the view in Europe of the President's decision to withdraw, to make the abrupt decision to withdraw from Syria?
Well, I already answered the question regarding Syria. I'm not here to judge what other countries do, but to say what my country's position is. And our position is going to be in Syria. on the fact that we condemn what Turkey decided to do in recent days with no possible ambiguity. President Trump seems to being open on discussing the possible tariffs. So do you think it will be possible to avoid tariffs?
Hey Joe, what you got?
And a question for President Trump. Now, we all know your concerns concerning Huawei entering Italy's security system. Are you satisfied with the measures that Italy decided to implement?
Gone up several times.
Well, I'll answer first. Yes, I am satisfied. They've been very accommodating. They weren't at the beginning, and they have been since then. I want to just thank the Italian
government
and your Prime Minister, actually. In addition to the President, as you know, I had long conversations.
They did have a generator running at one point, so they would have lots of power.
I'm very satisfied, and we just discussed the same conversation with the President.
Copy that. Just for now, open up all the windows and hopefully air everything out before we get there.
As far as the topic of tariffs is concerned, tariffs following the WTO decision on the contribution or the subsidies to the Airbus consortium. I already mentioned what our belief is. Let me repeat it. I think that within the transatlantic relationship and with the friendship that there has always been between the U.S. and the EU, it would be preferable to discuss our respective positions so that we can find a solution which takes into account the requirements of both parties, and that's wholly possible. The alternative would be that of imposing tariffs. Currently, following the WTO's decision concerning Airbus, there may be tariffs. And there may be tariffs in 6 months' time concerning the subsidies given to Boeing. This is a mere race between tariffs, mutual tariffs. I think it would be best to meet and to deal with our mutual needs so that a solution can be found. But if we don't do this now, it will have to be done soon. And I believe it would be best to find a solution immediately instead of imposing tariffs, which would lead into other tariffs and that would be a damage to both of our economies.
Well, actually, the tariff situation is interesting because it's like I said with China, it turned out to be true. We cannot lose a war of tariffs because the imbalance is so great between the United States and, in this case, the European Union. Also true with China. That turned out to be right. We've collected tens of billions of dollars of tariffs. We've given some to the farmers to make them even. And now the farmers are going to have a bigger contract than they ever thought possible. They won't be able to produce even that much, but I think they will because they're incredible ingenious. As I say jokingly, but probably not jokingly, they'll just have to buy larger tractors, which is probably what they're doing right now. But the farmers come out so well. But in a war of tariffs with the European Union, the trade imbalance is so great that we can't lose that because they do much more business than we do. And that's unfortunate, but the word reciprocity is probably my favorite word. Of all of these words, all of the semi-complicated, complicated, to me not complicated at all, things that we're doing, it's got to be reciprocal. And it's not. The European Union's taken tremendous advantage of the United States. Many of us come through, one way or the other, through the European Union. That's the good news. The bad news is they've been very smart. They've been very smart. Jean-Claude has been brilliant. Now he's leaving, but he's been brilliant at really helping them and not helping us. And so that's changing now. But we can't lose that particular war of tariffs because the trade imbalance is tremendous. It's tremendous. And if you look at what they don't have, the barriers that they put up tremendous barriers to our doing business in Europe. Tremendous barriers, both from a monetary standpoint and what they call non-monetary barriers. It's a very tough thing. Our farm products, very hard to get them in. Our cars, very hard to get them in. and yet they send Mercedes, they send BMW, then they send Volkswagen, Renault, in the case of France. So it's a very tough situation for us for many years, but now it's a very tough situation for them because I can remedy the situation very easily. And there really is not any financial counterattack. Hopefully I don't have to do that. We are, with all of that being said, we are talking. We're talking to some new people in Europe, and I hope it's going to be successful. That way we don't have to talk about it or worry about it, because our relationship should be a great one. But we have to be treated fairly on NATO, and we have to be treated fairly on trade with the European Union. Thank you all very much. Thank you. With us. He is a man of great distinction. He's highly respected in this country, and it's nice to have you at the White House. Thank you very much, President.
Delta 410 to Charlie 440, Mobile 3.
Mattarella, che è un uomo di grandi distinzioni, molto ben rispettato ed è un piacere averlo.
We've had a great relationship with Italy for a long time. I don't think it's ever been closer than it is now. We have won a $7.5 million award from, as you know, I guess it's been pretty big news, and I know that this is against the European Union and world trade. World trade.
President, incomplete 911 at the Temple. Is this a common call we get? Did you still want us in the unit?
I know Turkey's going to talk to us about their share of it because they feel they shouldn't have to pay so much.
He's actually at Fisherman's Wharf, 900 Park
If you
Street.
look at what's going on, Italy is complaining about it. Everybody's complaining about it. Turkey's complaining about a lot of things, and we're handling Turkey very nicely. But we have many countries complaining about the different awards that we've been winning lately from the courts, and the reason we're winning is we're properly represented. We're winning, in the case of the European Union, $7.5 billion, and Italy has a percentage of that to pay. In other cases, we've won, and we've won among the countries in the United States for the first time ever. Tremendous amounts of money in many different forms, including tariffs. Our farmers now have been taken care of well. China has already started their purchases. There was some misreporting. It's not, frankly, I'm not at all surprised, but there's been some misreporting that China will start purchasing when the deal is signed. The deal is being papered right now. Bob Lighthizer is with us. Mike Pompeo is with us, and they're going to be joining us for the discussion. But there have been some reports that China's not buying until the deal is signed. No, China started buying already from the farmers. It'll be anywhere from 40 to 50 billion, which is far more than anybody thought or expected. It's a great deal for the farmers. I think the farmers will get out along with many other industries.
Room 1309. Cluster of Beachcomber for a 70-year-old male, conscious breathing, lips assist only. Stop by dispatch at 449.
3 weeks ago, you can see the numbers for yourself. It's great for our country. It's great for, I think it's great for China too.
Patient was walking to our fire
Something that's already taken effect. We won't have to walk aside, probably until I met with President Xi in Chile, where we have a summit. So that'll be good. But the world trade, as you know, we won $7.5 billion, and that is being distributed among various countries in the European Union. Italy is one of those countries, and I know that the President of Italy wants to discuss that. Elements of the military and terrorism and security. So we'll be discussing it.
Again, blood pressure was 196 on 98, about 82, and breathing 20 times a minute on labor. Established, and we're about 5 minutes out.
Also, I'm sure paramedic 6 have already cleared up. It was a lift system.
Per ben 7 miliardi e mezzo premi che sono stati pagati, e questo è nei confronti dell'Unione Europea. Anche l'Italia dovrà fare parte di questo pagamento. L'Italia si lamenta di questo, si lamenta anche la Turchia si lamenta di tante cose in questo momento, ma ci stiamo occupando della Turchia in maniera giusta. Come avete saputo, appunto, ripeto che per la prima volta gli Stati Uniti stanno ricevendo dei pagamenti di premi che gli sono dovuti, mai come prima nella e poi ci sono stati anche, non mi sorprende, dei rapporti, dei racconti da parte della stampa che la Cina non che comincerà a comprare i prodotti dei nostri prodotti agricoli soltanto dopo la fine dell'accordo. Questo non è vero, è già 3 settimane fa la Cina cominciava a comprare prodotti dei nostri agricoltori e quindi sarà circa un valore di circa 40-50 miliardi di dollari e i nostri agricoltori finalmente beneficeranno di questo. E quindi, ripeto, questo è un momento importante per noi perché finalmente gli Stati Uniti si riequilibra le giuste compensazioni per le cose che abbiamo fatto e poi con il Presidente Mattarella naturalmente, siccome appunto di questi 7 miliardi di euro che sono distribuiti fra anche l'Italia ne fa parte, sono sicuro che il Presidente Mattarella parlerà di questo e parleremo anche di questioni generali del commercio, del terrorismo e delle questioni militari.
And I'm pleased to report that in Syria, Turkey, the border, we only had 28 soldiers, not 50. We thought it was 50. Somebody reported 50. It was actually down to 28. They were removed a while ago. All American soldiers are away from the site. Syria and Turkey may fight. Syria is friendly with the Kurds. The Kurds are very well protected. Plus, they know how to fight. And by the way, they're no angels, but they were with us. They are no angels. But they are fighting. We are largely out of that area. We're very well set. We have quite a contingent right nearby of soldiers and of the finest in the work, frankly, better than fighting. Certainly when you're down to 28 people, we're not going to be fighting. We don't want to fight anyway. I don't think there's any reason to from the United States standpoint. Now, if Syria wanting to take back their land, that's a whole different story. If Syria wants to fight for their land, that's up to Syria, as it has been for hundreds of years. They've been fighting, and the Kurds have been fighting for hundreds of years. That whole mess. It's been going along for a long time. Syria may have some help with Russia, and that's fine. It's a lot of sand. They've got a lot of sand over there, so there's a lot of sand that they can play with. But we were supposed to be there for 30 days. We stayed for 10 years, and it's time for us to come home. We're not a policing agent, and it's time for us to come home. We're working with Turkey. We're talking to everybody in the area, whatever we can do to keep it stable or stabilize it as much as possible, knowing that it's possibly never going to be very stable. And I think we're in a very good position in the Middle East. I think we're very, very strong in the Middle East. Iran is going to hell. Their economy is in deep trouble. Their GDP went down 20%, which nobody ever even heard of before, probably 25%. We'll be talking to Iran also. They want very much to talk. The sanctions with Iran, all of the things that we've done, including some tariffs and different things having to do with countries that are dealing with them, that we put on. All of the economic sanctions are working very well. So Iran will be an interesting case, but we'll see. They want to talk. We'll see whether or not they talk. If they talk, good. And if they don't talk, that's okay, too. But I think we're doing a very good job in the sense of strategically. We have Syria talking about their land. It's not our land. Turkey has gone into Syria. And if Turkey goes into Syria, that's between Turkey and Syria. It's not between Turkey and the United States, like a lot of stupid people would like you to believe. And I watched last night, a couple of people understood. Actually, a couple of the Democrats, I won't say which ones, but a couple of the more competent Democrats actually understood what I was doing and what the plan is. But really the plan is to get out of endless wars, to bring our soldiers back home, to not be policing agents all over the world. If you look at other countries, Russia, China, they don't have countries to take care of. We're close to 90 countries in one form or another. We're in 90 countries all over the world policing, and frankly, many of those countries, they don't respect what we're doing.
Couple letters, 703, letter 7 for trauma pickup, 5901 Weber, 5901 Weber, Mobile apartment, apartment 4206, close to the Dublin in court, 54-year-old female,
People aren't respecting what we're going to be doing.
That's
too bad. You read where we're sending some troops to Saudi Arabia. That's true, because we want to help Saudi Arabia. They have been going to They've agreed to pay for the cost of those troops. They've agreed to pay fully for the cost of that. That's something you have never heard before, I think, as long as you've been standing out there. I think the media has never heard that before. But Saudi Arabia has graciously agreed to pay for the full cost of everything we're doing for them. We're sending some tremendous missiles over. We're sending some great power over to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is paying for 100% of the cost, including the cost of our soldiers. And that negotiation took a very short time, like maybe about 35 seconds. I would like now to introduce the President to say a few words, and I'm sure you're going to have many questions for him. Thank you.
Noi avevamo soltanto 28 soldati americani, non 50 come era stato detto, e sono stati già evacuati, quindi sono lontani da.
We got a call for loud music at 725 Cato. RP is calling back requesting to cancel.
Sarà contatto con la Siria. Noi abbiamo un contingente vicino ben attrezzato, non credo che dovremo i curdi sono protetti dalla Siria, i curdi sono e va bene questo, sono dei combattenti, certo non sono degli angeli, ma comunque questo è un problema che sta devono vedere tra la Siria e la Turchia. Nei confronti della Turchia noi comunque abbiamo spiccato delle massicce sanzioni nei loro confronti. Adesso appunto questo conflitto deve essere risolto fra la Turchia e la Siria, non fra gli Stati Uniti con la Siria come tante persone stolte hanno proposto. E poi c'è anche la questione dell'Iran che ha avuto per la prima volta un calo del proprio PIL del 20%, anzi quasi del 25%, e l'Iran proprio a seguito delle sanzioni l'Iran se la vede con la Turchia per una questione che va avanti da centinaia di anni e noi non vogliamo più fare il poliziotto in tutto il mondo. Il nostro piano è molto chiaro. Infatti, se vedete gli altri potenze, la Russia e la Cina non si occupano degli altri paesi, invece noi siamo ben presenti in 90 paesi e tutto questo ci costa tanti soldi, e questi non sono mai pensati. Per cui il paese deve cominciare a rispettare quello che facciamo. Sì, è vero, manderemo il mandato delle truppe in Arabia Saudita, perché deve
Also, go ahead and start me Woody.
dare la parola al Presidente Mattarella.
Per l'invito e per l'accoglienza, bianca per le sue parole. Lo ringrazio anche per le considerazioni che ha appena fatto di grande interesse. Ha elencato alcuni degli argomenti di cui parleremo in questo incontro, perché è certo che ne parleremo in un atteggiamento di lealtà e collaborazione piena tra amici che sono sinceri, che sono alleati in quanto alleanze storici, di cultura e di rapporti umani come quella degli americani.
16609656.
Questo mese si celebra l'Heritage americani.
Well, Mr. President, thank you very much for your kind invitation. Set of values, set of cultures. Our bond is fostered by our human relations. And I'm very pleased to be here in this moment in time as we celebrate the Italian-American heritage.
I don't know. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, let me get in my unit.
Yeah, please.
Un gran piacere di incontrare il Presidente, dopo averlo visto in Italia nei giorni del G20 a Taormina 2 anni addietro, e all'insegna della conferenza conferma della grande amicizia che vieta
Almost getting hit by other vehicles. Patrol 3 and 4 at 2224.
che si esprime nel rapporto transatlantico, ma che appunto a base
Miller,
Grazie, signor Presidente.
180 ahead, raise
And again, I'm very happy to be here to meet with you, Mr. President. It's a pleasure to see you again after we met at the G20 summit in Taormina, Sicily.
It's getting close to that time.
Our meeting, again, is proof of the friendship between our countries, as also testified by our common belonging to the Atlantic Alliance, and of course by the human bonds that our countries share, and by the long friendship and alliance that we have.
Nel giorno del G7 a Taormina abbiamo avuto un tempo magnifico, Presidente, ricorderà. Ma anche ieri qui a Washington ieri sera c'era un tempo magnifico. Questi incontrarsi in posti diversi sottolinea come il rapporto tra i nostri paesi sia particolarmente forte.
And as you may remember, Mr. President, when we met at the summit in Taormina, the weather was wonderful. It was also beautiful here yesterday as well. And of course, the fact that we meet in different places around the world testifies to how solid our bonds are.
I think the bonds between Italy and the United States have never been more solid. I have so many Italian friends. I can't tell you.
Charlie 4, Charlie 330.
We have a lot also in your government. We have a lot of great friends in your government. I think the WTO award has been a testament to a lot of good work by the Trump administration. We never won with the WTO, or essentially never won. Very seldom did we win. And now we're winning a lot. We're winning a lot because they know if they're not treated fairly, we're leaving. Because we were a piggy bank that every other country was robbing. And China became rich because of the WTO. That's when China really ascended it. That's when China went up. That's when they made their great rise. They were flatlining, and then all of a sudden around the year 2000, 2001, when they got involved with the WTO, it became a whole different story. China was taking $500 billion a year out of the United States, plus intellectual property theft and many other things. And I give China a lot of credit.
Driving without the lights on.
In our country,
Patrol 3 and 4 at 2226.
discredit for what they allowed to happen. But the WTO, the World Trade Organization, has been very unfair to the United States. They know I feel that way, and I think since they know I feel that way, all of a sudden we're starting to win very big awards. The $7.5 billion that we won is going to be discussed. The percentage of that is to be paid by Italy, and Italy thinks that we're charging them too much. And we will certainly take that into consideration, and we will discuss that today. We're also discussing some very big trade deals. Actually, Italy is a very major trade partner with us. We do a lot of trade together, and they make incredible product. We buy and they buy, and we have a very good relationship. Sometimes stymied by the European Union, which is frankly very tough to deal with, and very tough negotiators, very unfair negotiators. They know I feel that way, and we'll see what happens ultimately with the European Union. But they have been very unfair to the United States. Italy, on the other hand, they've been a great partner.
Roger, 370, same traffic.
Sì, i legami tra i nostri paesi non sono mai stati di nuovo io voglio sottolineare il fatto che la giudicata testamente e testimonianza dell'operato della mia amministrazione. Mai abbiamo vinto molto raramente. E la Cina in effetti si è arricchita attraverso l'OMC, prima nel 2000-2001 l'economia era piatta, poi con l'accezione all'OMC le cose sono cambiate e ogni anno hanno preso $500 miliardi dagli Stati Uniti più il punto della proprietà intellettuale. Quindi per carità io do molto credito alla Cina e al loro popolo, ma non credito alle persone dalla parte nostra, del nostro governo. Comunque, come ripeto, questi 7 miliardi e mezzo che devono essere ripagati a noi, naturalmente una parte deve essere pagata anche dall'Italia, l'Italia si dimostra di questo e noi ne parleremo in effetti, perché l'Italia è uno dei nostri partner commerciali maggiori, abbiamo dei ottimi rapporti e mentre i
I need a router, or would you mind?
Your white male, no shirt, navy blue shorts by the dumpster, holding a cell phone.
Are you okay with Erwan saying that
behind 460, I believe. I can take 447.
Is beating and he's meeting today with some of our representatives. Mike Pence is leaving today, as you know. We needed to take an extra.
Check they're out on a shooting right now.
Mike is leaving. Mike Pompeo will be meeting also, who's here right now.
End up at the impound lot.
We have a lot of great people over there, we'll see. Our soldiers are not in harm's way, as they shouldn't be, as two countries fight over land.
10-4, they're out at the impound lot right now.
And the Kurds are much safer right now, but the Kurds know how to fight.
Vehicle driving in the queue that you were asked 10-4. 5513.
But they fought with us. We paid a lot of money for them to fight with us, and that's okay. They did well when they fought with us. They didn't do so well when they didn't fight with us.
Charlie 4, 5513, Mobile 1.
A year and a half ago to fight with the Kurds against Iraq. They said, wait a minute, this country stupidly just spent a fortune on fighting for, with, around Iraq. Nobody knows how they spent it. They spent, actually, we're in the Middle East now for $8 trillion, if you can believe that stupidity. In Iraq, we're in for probably $5 trillion. So they're telling me later that we just spent $5 trillion fighting in Iraq and with Iraq. And now we're supposed to spend money to fight with the Kurds against Iraq. I said, no, thank you. So what happened is, when I said we're not going to fight with the Kurds left. They didn't want to fight against Iraq. The Kurds actually are pulling back substantially from Turkey. And Syria's pulling. Syria probably will have a partner of Russia, whoever they may have. I wish them all a lot of luck. You know, Russia was involved in Afghanistan. It used to be called the Soviet Union. Now it's called Russia for a reason, because they lost so much money in Afghanistan that they had to downsize. So if Russia wants to get involved with Syria, that's really up to them. They have a problem with Turkey. We shouldn't be losing lives over it. We got soldiers, he's 26, 28. We got all different numbers. It ends up being 28 between the 26. Show anybody around people fully accounted for. So that's the story. It's very simple. And we're watching and we're negotiating and we're trying to get Turkey to do the right thing because we'd like to stop wars regardless, whether Americans are in or whether they're not in. We want to see wars stop. It's very important. On a humanitarian basis, we want to see that happen. Steve?
How confident are you that Mike Pence will be able to arrange a ceasefire? What are you doing?
Bravo 440 Charlie 450 for a suspicious person at 5701 Saratoga, the Reserve at Saratoga apartment.
Sta andando in Turchia adesso e tra qualche giorno ci sarà Pompeo e stiamo negoziando e staremo a vedere che succede. Però
Males, one in a gray hoodie, one in a red hoodie, one in a black hoodie. Last seen going towards the pool, the back of the location. Bravo 440 in the area.
I curdi sono protetti dai russi, se la Russia vuole occuparsi della Siria, sono anche loro, quello si sono occupati per tanti anni dell'Afghanistan e proprio a causa di quello hanno dovuto subire grossissime perdite, per questo che non si chiamano più Unione Sovietica ma Russia. E quello che quanto riguarda quando mi è stato proposto di combattere insieme ai curdi perché non ha senso dopo tutti gli investimenti, tutto quello che abbiamo fatto in Iraq, adesso non voglio assolutamente rigirarmi dietro e combattere contro l'Iraq che invece è una forza stabile. Quindi, come dicevo prima,
440 Charlie 470 for disturbance in progress in the area of 3836 Kingston, 3836 Kingston. RP called it on an open line. a call takers heard a disturbance in the background. They hung up. We had to start a trace, and that's the area they gave us.
Probably safe. They've got to work it out. Maybe they can do it without fighting. Serious protection.
Charlie 4 to 440-47.
Every player hates ISIS. Everybody we're talking about. Syria more than us. Russia more than us. They've got a big number on Russia. And we're over there fighting ISIS, but they're over there fighting ISIS too. They can handle it, and they should handle it. We can fight our own battles on our own territory. We have a lot of countries over there that hate ISIS as much as we do. In some cases, probably more. So they can take care of ISIS. We have them captured. The United States captured them. Some were released just for effect, to make us look a little bit like, oh, gee, we're going to get right back in there. But you have a lot of countries over there that have power and that hate ISIS very much as we do. So I think we're in a very strategically good position. I know that fake news doesn't make it look that way, but we've removed all of our, as we said, 50 soldiers, but much less than 50 soldiers. They're now in a very safe location, heading into an even safer location. And we will help negotiate. We have tremendously powerful sanctions. Our country has become economically much more powerful than, frankly, it ever was. We picked up trillions and trillions of dollars in worth. The market was up big yesterday. It's going to be up big today, it looks like. Just having to do with what we've done with the financial services, with banks, with the farmers has been incredible, far greater than anyone ever thought. I agree it hasn't been papered yet, but it's being papered. But in the meantime, as you know, and as we've said many times, China's already started buying. They want to buy. They want to make a deal. They really have to make a deal. Their economy's been hurt very badly by what we've done and by the tariffs that we've charged.
However, they do
tremendous amounts of tariffs. A small portion of them have given to the farmers, which is more than made up for what they've lost.
Sì, no, come dicevo appunto, noi, la situazione degli Stati Uniti dal punto di vista di posizione strategica nel confine Turchia-Siria è brillante. Noi abbiamo messo al riparo i nostri soldati e adesso sarà ai paesi lì sul terreno a trovare una soluzione a combattere. Per quanto riguarda l'ISIS, tutti non sono soli, l'ISIS ha combattuto contro l'ISIS, tutti gli altri paesi, la Siria, la Russia, la Turchia, tutti ce l'hanno con l'ISIS che troveranno il modo di continuare a combattere e risolvere la situazione. Noi abbiamo catturato i terroristi ISIS, poi qualcuno li ha rilasciati solamente per far vedere che il problema di ritornare, che la posizione degli Stati Uniti in quella zona è una posizione brillante. Abbiamo messo a riparo i nostri soldati e negoziare imponendo delle sanzioni. Gli Stati Uniti proprio per questo è una potenza economica fortissima, mai come prima abbiamo ricevuto fortissimi miliardi di dollari di rimborso, i mercati azionari vanno bene, adesso andranno ancora meglio se quando firmeremo il raccordo con la Cina, perché la Cina vuole fare ha bisogno di questo e hanno già cominciato a comprare. Poi c'è stato appunto l'accordo per i nostri farmers, i nostri agricoltori che riceveranno una parte di questi
because of the newfound economic power of the United States, because of the fact that we've made so many trillions, many trillions of dollars in worth. My opponent would have won. China would not be the most powerful nation economically in the world, and right now
360 Leopard, 9360 Leopard at the Stripes, Leopard around Morgan. It's going to be for a Hispanic male, gray sweater and blue jeans. Left in a red truck, license plate John Paul King 6077. John Paul King 6077 was racing towards Clarkwood, took two 18 packs of Michelob Ultra. Control 1, 518.
The power we have with sanctions and tariffs is far greater than what we're talking about. With that being said, our military has been completely rebuilt. Much of the equipment's already been delivered. We spent $2.5 trillion rebuilding it over the last 3 years. And our military military powers at the highest level and our economic powers at the highest level. But I'd always rather use economic power before I use military power because people aren't getting killed with economic power.
Prima che la nostra collega introducesse nuovamente l'argomento che il Presidente Trump ha parlato con cortesia della questione dei possibili dazi conseguenti alla vicenda del finanziamento europeo. Io vorrei, naturalmente un argomento di cui parleremo questa mattina con il Presidente, e io mi auguro che sia
Out of 420, out of 430, sitting in assignment 2 screens.
trovare un metodo collaborativo che eviti uno scambio di provvedimenti. A me sembra che all'Italia sembra preferibile nello spirito transatlantico incontrarsi per confrontare le posizioni e cercare insieme una soluzione che tenga conto, in cui ciascuna delle due parti tenga conto delle esigenze e delle ragioni dell'altra parte. L'alternativa è quella di guardarsi che probabilmente chiamerebbero delle reazioni per poi ripetere questa vicenda tra qualche mese quando possiamo andare al commercio.
Therefore, it looks like it's south of Eagle
Comunque indispensabile un punto di incontro e un'intesa, tanto vale cercarla subito e perseguirla.
Point 3, records on scene, back's been released. Will be 95 one time.
And before
Facility code 1 with a 68-year-old male patient complaining of sudden onset chest pain.
President
Patient
Trump was
does have
talking
cardiac
about the
history and was
possible
last to facility about a month ago. Had a blockage cleared. Patient doesn't have a pacemaker installed. Has not gone off at this time. Heart rate is 84. BP is 109 on 68. He's at a 97% on room air. We do have him on 3 liters of nasal cannula.
we can avoid retaliation.
Tempo 98 and the glucose of 373. We're unable to get an IV this time. Patient has been given 243 of aspirin and took a 81 milligram aspirin at home prior to our arrival and 1 nitro tab prior to our arrival.
Because the alternative to that
We had facility in less than
followed by retaliation, followed by further tariffs. And we also have to understand that we are waiting for a solution of the Boeing affair as well. And so, of course, within the spirit of the United Alliance, within the spirit of the friendship we've always had,
we try to reach facility.
discuss these things and understand one another.
Well, in theory, there can't be retaliation because this was an award that we got because of the fact that the European Union was presidents, and this was an award that we got for the unfair treatment given to the United States by the European Union. So there should be no retaliation. This was getting us even because $7.5 billion getting us back to even, and nobody else but me would have gotten that $7.5 billion back for the taxpayers of the United States.
Beh, non credo che si possa parlare veramente di ritorsioni, perché l'ha giudicato dell'OMC nei confronti di questa è stato proprio a seguito di un si è approfittata di un adesso siamo pari e questi 7 miliardi e mezzo che non ha avuto nessun altro presidente che sarebbe
Attention EMS, DJ route to the Art Center, 104 North Howell Street, the Art Center, 104 North Howell Street, for a female having
I'll be clear 5-9, and can you send me that pending call?
I got along well with him. Some people didn't like John Bolton.
Out of 430. 10-4 the updates, they're requesting cancel now.
I don't know that he got along with him.
10-4.
What happens mostly in the 2016 election because there was tremendous corruption in the 2016 election.
Adam 4. On Adam 420 and Adam 430's call, we got another call from the RP. They were requesting to cancel. Did you still want us to send the units out?
I said that I didn't say, which is fraud. I mean, it's
Adam 420, Adam 430, I'll check up.
So it continues. So Rudy was a great prosecutor. He was the best mayor in the history of the city of New York, as far as I can see. I think he's pretty much acknowledged what he did for crime and everything else. And when he saw what was going on with our election, the election I won, but the election that was absolutely corrupted by things that took place in government. And we'll see what happens. The IG report's going to come out soon, and we'll see what happens. I think I know nothing about it in terms of the report. I'm waiting for the report like everybody else, but I predict you will see things that you don't even believe, the level of corruption, whether it's Comey, whether it's Strzok and his lover Page, whether it's so many other people, McCabe, whether it's President Obama himself. Let's see whether or not it's President Obama. Let's see whether or not they put that in. Wait a minute. Let's see whether or not. So Rudy saw that. I can tell you Rudy Giuliani because he was very, very incensed at the horrible things that he saw, as are many people, okay, and many Republicans. And the Republicans have been treated very unfairly by the Democrats. I'll say this. Paul Ryan would never issue a subpoena. I don't say right or wrong. He had too much respect for our country. Nancy Pelosi hands him out like cookies. Everybody, I don't even know these people. For the most part, people like that attest them. I don't even know who they are. I never even heard of some of them. Most of them. But I don't know all these people testify. And when they leak out, they don't say the good parts, they only say the bad parts. We're not allowed to representation, we're not allowed to lawyers, we're not allowed to have anything. The Democrats are treating the Republicans very, very badly. Fortunately, we have a lot of good, strong, smart Republicans, but they haven't help John with the Democrats, the way the Democrats deal. And the Republicans won't forget it, because what they're doing, what the Democrats are doing to this nation.
478 Charlie 440 for disturbance in progress, 5202 SKD, 5202 SKD at the IHOP. Contact map.
And it'll happen to them, because if the Republicans have the House, which I think they will.
Review for a white male, red hair, white hat, gray shirt, and blue jeans, trying.
I actually thought it was going to happen. There were many people listening to that conversation, because when I speak to a leader, like if I speak to the president of Italy, if I speak to anybody,
yeah, that was just on one car. I think there's
people in the
two more floating over here.
Understanding and knowledge. I don't know technically,
Were you calling
but I assume there are many people. Fortunately, they had transcribers, stenographers, people that do this for a living on the line, because we have an exact copy of the report, of the call.
Okay, well, come back.
The call was put out.
That's where I'm going.
When I started hearing about the whistleblower.
Okay.
Well, the whistleblower's report was totally wrong. The whistleblower didn't know what he was talking about, or was given false information, or was even worse than that. Now all of a sudden, Schiff doesn't want to talk to the whistleblower. Now all of a sudden, quid pro quo doesn't matter, because now they see in the call there was no quid pro quo. So with Rudy was seeking out corruption, and I think there's nothing wrong with seeking out corruption. Did you have Steve?
Wait.
From the DNC. Where is the server? I want to see the server.
Harriet.
Let's see what's on the server.
Maybe Harry, ma'am.
The server, they say, is held by a company whose primary ownership individual is from Ukraine. I'd like to see the server. I think it's very important for this country to see the server. Nobody wants to see it. The media never wants to see it, but I tell you, Republicans want to see it. So Republicans are thinking, well, here's the problem. I think we're going to take the House based on what's happening. I've rebuilt the military. Our economy is the best it's ever been. We have numbers that just came out where, not including taxes, the median household income for the average American has increased $5,000 in a very short time since I've been president. Nobody's ever heard of numbers like that. So people want to find out, why was it so corrupt during that election? And I want to find out more than anybody else. Steve, go ahead.
Are in Incirlik Air Base in Turkey. How confident are you of those weapons safety?
We're confident, and we have a great air base, a very powerful air base. That air base alone can take any place. It's a large, powerful air base. And you know, Turkey, just so people remember, Turkey is a NATO member. We're supposed to get along with our NATO members. And Turkey is a NATO member. Do people want us to start shooting at a NATO member? That would be a first. And that's all involved having to do with NATO. Yeah.
Well, I'm playing the Kennewood Apartment. George Young Robert 1260. George Young Robert 1260.
that she's done this country a tremendous disservice.
Candlewood Apartments.
She's created a phony witch hunt, another one. First one failed. They're all failing. This one is just absolutely crazy. All you have to do is read the transcript of the call. Read the transcript. This is a open and shut, simple case. They're desperate because they know they're going to lose the election. They're desperate to do something because they know they're going to lose the election. This administration has created the strongest economy in the history of our country. We have the greatest stock market. We had over 100 times we broke the record for stock market. If you look at people's stocks, their 401ks, if you look at anything you want to look at, they're far better off now than they probably ever have been in this country. Record stock markets. And don't forget, stock market's not just rich people, it's all people. Because all people own in the stock market. New York Stock Exchange, all of them. They're at record highs. Nobody's ever done what we've done. So they're playing games. They figure they can't win the election. So maybe we can find some ground. We'll get somebody that Trump never met. And maybe they'll say something bad about Trump. And if they do really bad, maybe it can stick a little bit. I don't think it's going to work. They've treated the Republican Party with great disrespect. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. My meeting with the family was really, it was beautiful in a certain way. I did not want to meet with the person in question, but we had a very good meeting. They're very nice people.
Facility is going to be about 3 minutes.
The full group was 4 people, actually, as you know how it's all broken up. And the meeting took place right here. It was very sad, to be honest. She lost, and they lost their son. I believe it was going down the wrong way because that happens in Europe. You go to Europe and the roads are opposite. And it's very tough. If you're from the United States, you do make that decision to make a right turn where you're supposed to make a left turn. The roads are opposite. And she said that's what happened. It happens to a lot of people, by the way. But she said that's what happened. She was in the room right out there. We met right here. This area.
Can you change my location to 3209 Crestwater and show me arriving?
The person in question came, and they weren't ready for
Crestwater,
but I did offer. I spoke with Boris. He asked me if I did that. Unfortunately, they wanted to meet with her, and unfortunately, they had lawyers involved. I know the people were lovely. They were very nice.
Blood sugar reading at this time.
Yes.
We'll copy this one at 5:30. Before you give it, what's that? Your budget taking the squad?
And that'll be up to them. But I did meet the family, and I expressed condolences on behalf of our country. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Pound 1224, pound 1224.
Wait, there's a great question I'm being asked. This is maybe the greatest question I've been asked in a long time. Please put those mics over here. Go ahead, say it. We are looking at Italy very strongly, and as you know, the 7.5 is to be divided the way we say. We've divided it up. Italy has got a problem with the way we've divided it up because they said they had much less to do with it. And Germany had more to do with it, and France had more to do with it, as an example. So we are going to look at that very strongly. Ambassador Lighthizer is here. We're going to look at it very strongly. Okay? Thank you. Good question. I love that question. Thank you all very much. Well, thank you very much. It's a great honor today. It's a great chance.
Spohn Medical 11. Medical 11.
I always respect
Diabetic patient is 3218 South Padrona Drive. We have Palm apartment 68 Adam, Street of Rockville.
We've all learned that.
Before
Today it's my pleasure to welcome the Stanley Cup champions, St. Louis Blues. I watched it very carefully. I watched that season.
Blood sugar reading at this time.
They're not doing very well this year, but you'll see the story. It's an amazing story of comebacks. Congratulations to head coach Craig Berube and the Blues organization. And that is something. Fantastic.
Information case number is 193, one in custody at 23.
And the entire team on winning your first Stanley Cup. And you'll probably have many more based on what I'm hearing. We're delighted to be joined by Second Lady Karen Pence. Karen, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Mike is getting ready to make a big trip. He'll be leaving tomorrow. We have a delegation leading today, and Mike is heading it up with Secretary Pompeo. They'll be leaving tomorrow. And we're having very strong talks with a lot of people. We want to bring our soldiers back home after so many years. And they're the greatest warriors in the world. They're policing. They're not a police force. They're a different kind of a force. We want to bring our soldiers back home. And we're being very tough on Turkey and a lot of others. They have to maintain their own properties now. They have to maintain peace and safety. And we'll see what happens. The delegation is asking for a ceasefire. We put the strongest sanctions that you can imagine, but they get a lot. We have a lot in store if they don't have an impact, including massive tariffs on steel. They ship a lot of steel to the United States. They make a lot of money shipping steel. They won't be making so much money. I just want to tell you that the stock market is way up today because of probably the trade deal that we made with China. We made a fantastic deal. You guys would have been very proud of it. Your agents would have been very proud. Those agents, right? They sit in bed, they weigh 350 pounds, and they complain. You're not playing very well today. Come on. So, the good old agents, but they would have been proud. We're going to be selling to China about $50 billion worth of farm agricultural products, and that's amazing. And China's been great. China's really been great in this, and we have phase 2, and we're doing a lot with banking and with financial services already in phase 1. Phase 1 is massive, actually. It's probably the simpler stuff, but in some ways maybe it's the most complicated, but it's very big numbers. So I hear the most the farmers ever did was 16 billion. So I said, ask for 70. They said, no, you don't mean 70. 16, ask for 70. I said, yeah, ask for 70. So we agreed on 50. And the only problem is they say the farmers can't produce it. It's too much. They said, don't reduce it. My people said, all right, make it 20. I said, no, make it 50. Let the farmers tell me we can't do it. The farmers will never say that because they'll do it. You guys know that, right? So we have $50 billion worth of agriculture. It's the largest contract of its kind by 3 times ever signed. And China's starting immediately, even though the agreement will take, Gary, you get agreements done much more quickly. Gary Bettman, what a job. But the agreement will take probably until Chile. We're going to Chile for a meeting, as you know, summit. And, hello, Mr. Senator. Look at my 2 great senators. Roy, stand up, even though I'm going to introduce you in a sec. How's our young, incredible Josh doing? Good job? Come on, stand up, Josh. What a job. Roy and I sat back, we said, we need somebody that's really outstanding to beat her. I won't mention names. And they had 4 or 5 candidates. I looked at them, 4 or 5 candidates. I said, I want him. And he really, under pressure, was unbelievable. Thank you very much. We made a good choice, Roy, right? What do you think, yes? I think with Roy, he'll tell you if it's no good. He'll tell you now.
206 Leopard, 4206 Leopard, Ranch Motel, room 127, Costita Van Cleave, and Westchester, 72-year-old male, conscious breathing.
Alex Azar, who's been fantastic.
Information still coming in. Work on progress back at 536.
Thank you very much. And Robert Lighthizer, how you doing with trade with other countries? All he does is contracts. He does contracts. In fact, he probably wants to leave now because he's got another contract. We just did one with Japan. We just did one with South Korea. China's happening. Mexico, Canada's happening if they can ever get it approved. I doubt they will because it's Nancy Pelosi. They're too busy working on impeachment. And by the way, we just hit the greatest economy we've ever had. Let's impeach the president. Isn't that a good idea? I wouldn't worry about it, fellas. I wouldn't worry about it. Don't worry too much. How are we doing, Roy? Okay in the Senate? I hear we're looking very good. I hear our senators, they're the greatest. I want to start by introducing a man that I've known a little bit, but he's been a great business success, Tom Stillman. He's the majority owner of the St. Louis Blues. And Tom became the chairman of the Blues, had a great success in business, but we won't bore him with that. And tremendous success, actually. Became the chairman of the Blues, and in May of 2012, when he took over, he said, I have a plan for 5 years, 6 years, 8 years. We have to have a champion. And within 7 years, they won the Stanley Cup, the beautiful Stanley Cup right here. So that's a great job. You know, he wasn't on the list to introduce. I said, wait a minute, he's the owner. They want to introduce everybody.
5901 Weber,
I said,
5901 Weber,
that's a very good thing.
Marabella Apartments, apartment
We've
14.
been waiting a little longer than that in New York.
Dublin and Court, 54-year-old female conscious breathing lift system.
We also have some very proud Blues fans here with us, and we just introduced Senator Roy Blunt, who's a fantastic man, a great friend of mine, who's done an incredible job, and he loves your state very much. He loves your team. He loves your team. Roy, thank you very much. And as I said, Josh Hawley, who's a young, brilliant star of the Senate, and he's been doing fantastically well, and I want to thank you very much, Josh, for the job you're doing. Representatives Mike Bost, where's Mike? Mike, stand up.
Are you available for the suspicious vehicle? 4439 County Road 30.
They're so afraid of not being here, they lose half of their vote. They all came back early because they didn't want to not be here, right, Mike? Rodney Davis. Great guy. Thank you, Rodney. John Katko. The great Billy Long. Thanks, John. Where's Billy? Billy, do an auction for the St. Auction the team off, please. Yeah, come on, come on.
Breaking over. Can you repeat one more time? County Road 77 is going to be the nearest cross street.
And he didn't know I was going to. You won't believe this.
Oh, you're going to buy the Stanley Cup here. Hey, and who get 25? When you get $30,000, how about a 30? 35, 40, you want to buy 45, 45, 50. How about a $50,000 now? 5, to buy 60, now 5, 65. Get that satisfied look off your face. You're out. 65, 70, I have sold at $65,000. Hey, will you sign this? The last one brought $15,000.
I will. Give me a pen.
He signed my St. Jude tie at the State of the Union. We gave the money. We auctioned it off for $15,000 to St. Jude. He's going to sign this one here. This will be in next year's auction. What do you mean it wasn't planned? They stopped me at the gate. They said, stand over here. They didn't know I was coming.
Thank you, Billy. Billy. Pretty good job, though. Isn't that pretty good? I think it's pretty good.
Negative 1304 is still coming through on the static.
Blaine Lutkemeyer.
Yeah, I'll be responding from the office.
Great job. That's a great one. Jason Smith. Jason. Thank you, Jason. A great hockey player. I must tell you, I'm not sure we're in that category, though, Pete. Right? What do you think? I know he was really good. Do you know that he was a great player in his own right? Okay? Pete Stauber. Yeah. He was a good one. And Ann Wagner, she wasn't a great player, but she's a great player. Thanks, Ann. Missouri Governor Mike Parson. Mike, great job. And Attorney General Eric Schmidt. Eric. And many other leaders, and another leader, and I introduced him a little bit before, but the NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman. I've known him so long, I refuse to say how long. A lot of years, right? A lot of years, a lot of success, too.
Good, you guys doing to the 450 at work?
So what we were alluding to before is in 2019, when the year started, you were true underdogs midway through the season. The Blues were ranked last in the NHL. I can't believe that, fellas, but don't worry, it gets better. You only had 15 wins, you had 18 losses, and 4 ties. On January 6th, fresh off another really bad loss, a hard one. It was close, but it was bad. A few of the Blues players, it's still a loss, right? Losses are no good no matter by what. Does it matter if you lose them close?
Engine 7 and Engine 6 on fire dispatch.
But they gathered at a bar in Philadelphia where they heard the 1982 hit Gloria. That's
we're here at the station, and we got a call at Marbella Apartments.
Don't know what's happened here.
We're out at 2444 and County Road 118.
You shut out the Flyers.
Okay, we're going to be close.
The Glory became your new win song. It was a win song. That's why we played it. So now otherwise, the fake news would be criticizing.
Go ahead, be like a little
What
sonic.
kind of a song? You're playing this song. What is that? Look at that. Look at that mouth of that guy. Come here a minute.
Heavy short, heavy set, Hispanic male tattoos, right?
You think he's taking a few hits? Huh? You think he's
So much tattoos on his face for the red
You think
shirt.
I could take him in a fight? I don't know. Wow.
Repeat on the Zoomer.
No hockey. That's great. Over the next few weeks, the Blues notched 11 straight wins, the longest winning streak in team history, and soon earned a place in the playoffs. In the first round, they took on the Winnipeg Jets, moments away from overtime in Game 5. The Blues' left wing, Jaden Schwartz, scored the winning goal in the last 15 seconds of regulation, and everybody else just took a deep breath and said, that was close. Where's Jason? Jaden, come here. Say a few words. Jaden. And they say he's a great golfer.
Well, I wouldn't be able to score if it wasn't for my partner passing me the puck.
Communications Airport 40.
Golf partner too, undefeated. You want to take us on sometime? Let us know.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jaden. The next game, St. Louis clinched the series after Jaden scored all three. Jaden, you're pretty good. All three of the Blues goals. And Jaden, you persisted for the final showdown against a great team. They just hope that she's not going to be running against them soon. But it's really an extraordinary story of a very heroic young woman. Throughout the season, Layla, incredible young men. Layla received a bone marrow transplant in January and was strong enough to cheer the team on to victory in the final game. Layla, your exceptional courage and, frankly, the fact that you brought the team some luck, which is important, right? We all need a little of that. But we just want to thank you. You inspired the Blues all season, and today you continue to inspire all Americans. We all know your story right now. See all of those people back there? See, they look so friendly. They're not. They're tougher than these guys. Okay?
7-1 in the complex.
But I'll bank on these guys. So congratulations.
112.